Yo, peace. Gonna have a good video tonight. I'm gonna show y'all this video. Show y'all this video. Of people going off grid. Peace. Y'all come on in. Hope you got them cats in order today, yo. They outside whining. You hear it? They outside whining. Listen, them ain't my cats. Them ain't my dogs. So I don't know what they want. I can't tell if they hungry or if they need attention. I don't know. But peace and blessings, y'all. Peace and blessings. They love you though. Yeah, yeah. I'm cool with all of them now. Don't get me wrong. I just when it comes to other people's animals, it's just, people act a certain way about their animals, and I don't want to be responsible if anything happen. You know what I'm saying? But check this out though. I don't want to be too long because the video that I want y'all to watch, we're gonna watch it together. It's already like an hour, and I gotta go to work tomorrow. So I just want to show y'all this. It's crazy. I was watching a video Papa Duck did today, and it's funny because I was just speaking on some of the same things the other day in the other video that I did. But hold on. I might have to go upstairs and I hear my wife fussing at the boys. Hold on. 1 second, y'all. My bad. So let me go ahead and put this on real quick. I'm gonna just skip through some of the video because he was talking about Biden and something Biden was saying he was gonna do with the student loans or whatever. But check this out.
After Laura Spelman, which is Rockefeller's wife. And if you knew any involvement of Rockefeller's or the Rockefellers' involvement in school, you would know something ain't right. This motherfucker sought out to manipulate the curriculums in school to create workers, not thinkers. This is why people will go to work for a 9 to 5 and won't think nothing much of it. No disrespect. But if you go to work for another bitch, you go to work for your motherfucking self. Yeah. See, they teach us to be individuals. I told y'all you can have a family of your mama, your dad. Hopefully they still, living. Your siblings. It could be 6 or 7 of y'all. Why is it that 6 or 7 people leave in one house to go work for 7 different bosses? when you can work, save money, get your own motherfucking business, and y'all work as a collective.
That's crazy, man. Listen, when you really think about that, that is crazy how we all work for somebody different instead of, you know what I'm saying, like trying to create something where we can work for each other and or ourselves. Like, it's crazy, man.
See, they teach us to be individualism or individualistic instead of collectivism. I tell y'all this all the time. This is why this is. Think about what I'm saying. People really think 401ks ain't a scam. I done videos of people getting in the comments, they be talking shit. Oh, you don't know about a 401k. Well, first of all, why would you let another motherfucker hold your money? I keep telling y'all, everything in America they want to do for you. The more they do for you, the more they control you. Like they say, control the food, you control the people. Control all pharmaceuticals, control education, control religion. It's all about control. 401ks is a scam, homie. However you want to look at it. Anytime there's a pile of money, there's some investing going on. And yeah, they give you a few crumbs to make you think that, okay, when I get 67 years old, I'm going to get my 401k. You know how many times they done flipped your fucking money by the time they done gave you them crumbs? And when you go into your money, because you might need it as an emergency, they find you for your own money. What kind of shit is that? And this ain't a scam. Man, you've been taught to be a worker. They don't teach you to be a boss. They don't teach you to have your own company. They don't teach you about trust, LLCs, credit. Hell, they don't teach you about nothing but the things that's going to help you become a obedient slave. See, slave is just a person. Slavery is just cheap labor, bro. No matter how they get it. If they pay you $20 an hour, what the fuck you think they making? $20? No. This is why they want you to go to prison. This is why America has more prisoners than some country have people. America has the most populated prison on earth. Why? Because when you become a prisoner, you become state property, which you are by law a fucking slave. See, the crazy part about that is they went from public. They just took slavery from being private to public. But what did that do? That didn't only enslave blacks, it enslaved whites, Latinos, and every motherfucking color spectrum in between. You see what they did? Oh, we're gonna be smart. How many white people figured that out? That when you go to jail, because you're out here in a society with limited resources, so of course your ass might do some wrong because you got to pay these bills every 30 days that they say God say we should do, which don't make no sense anyway. But there's a chance that someone's going to commit a crime because we don't all think the same, hustle the same. We don't all have the same resources. We're just not the same. So some people are going to go out there and take when it's time to take, okay? And when you do, you go to jail, which they want you to go to jail, so that you can work for these Fortune 500 companies. I told y'all, Starbucks. Who else? Who else on the list? Chick-fil-A on the list. McDonald's on the list. Walmart's on the list. You work for these companies for like what, 12 cents an hour, cheap labor. So by law, you are a slave by law. And not only do they enslave blacks, they are enslaving whites and everything in between. Huh. See, when you ain't educated, bro, or you just living in a society where these people not gonna teach you shit. They're gonna teach you shit to make you think that being this is a educated person. It's not true. That's why they call it the matrix. If you took a lawyer and put him in the natural habitat that God put us here to do, being a lawyer don't mean shit. Being a lawyer can't help you. You don't know how to look at a fruit and say, well, by the color of that fruit, I know it'll do this and that for my body. These are false things. In the matrix that has a place. In a false world, fake world has a place. But in the real world that God put us here to thrive in, that shit don't mean nothing. So they give you this, oh, you become a lawyer or this and that, and you educated. No, you're not, bro. You're just educated within an environment that requires that. And I know a lot of y'all gonna say, duh, but that's the trickery, bro. See, that's the matrix for you right there. Letting another motherfucker create a whole nother world around you where you got to dance by their music. And remember, You got to pay the band if you want to dance. And a lot of y'all can't pay the band. So what happens? You either you get depressed, yeah, you get killed out here trying to keep up with the Joneses, or you become a lost soul. Okay, you're alive, but you're not living. Okay, so hopefully you took some value from this video, man. And like I try to do, I just try to get people to use this. Create your own reality, bro. Fuck all that shit they talking about. Why everything costs money? Because money is a way to control people. That's all it is. It's just a way to control people. And they print this shit every day. So you know they ain't running out no time soon. So when they tell you you don't have this amount of money, so that means you can't have a heart surgery, or you can't do that, or you can't do this. And they told you God said you got to have money. And God we trust. I told y'all Romans 1 and 2, what it says. God created, that's what they say. God created government, and if you disobey government, well, matter of fact, it said God created government and gave government all the power that it has, which is some bullshit. And if you disobey government, that's equivalent to disobeying God, and you shall be punished. This is what man is telling you. You let another man tell you this shit, and always putting God in the equation. God is in you. What do your God say? What do you tell yourself? This shit, that's all you need, common sense. That's why when people walk up to me, the first thing they say, God said this and God said that. Hey, he told you, he could tell me. Now, I'm not saying don't be aware of what messages can come to you through people, but you got to be connected. A lot of people disconnected. And soon they hear the word God, they think that's what it is. No, let me feel your soul. Let me look into your motherfucking eyes. Let me feel you. And if I feel that you ain't what it is, get out my face now. Because when it comes down to it, I don't play about me, I don't play about my kids, and I don't play about my family. I will leave this bitch behind them three things. And that's facts. So with that being said, it's your boy Papa Duck, man. You know how I get when I go to talking about things, talking about my people. You feel what I'm saying? But listen, man, y'all share the video. Make sure you hit the website, ubuntuapparel.com. And like I said, if you got any value out of the video, just like it, share it.
Hate him or love him, the boy speaking facts. I feel the same way. Now, going back to what he was saying earlier about, family. I talk about this all the time. Like, it just does not make sense to me why family won't get together, come together, get some land, and build as a family. You know what I'm saying? Not even just family, but like friends, just different families, community. You know what I'm saying? Why not? Why y'all won't come together, put your money together, get some land, and just get at it? You know what I'm saying? Um, Even on top of that, what he was saying about like just how you have people living in one house, right, and everybody working for somebody different instead of creating something where we work with each other. And that kind of reminds me, and I think I told y'all this before, I can't remember, but when I was in the process of buying my house back in 2018, the lady, the realtor we who helped us, we talked to her initially, right? And then like she was like, yeah, I'm gonna meet up with you guys, and we're gonna go around, look for some houses and yada yada yada. But then when the time came for her to meet us, it was this guy, it was this young dude, and we were like, who are you? And he was like, oh, that was my mama y'all was talking to. You feel me? Like, he was like, I'm a realtor as well. So a lot of the people she worked with, she'll have me to take them around and see the houses or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, you know what I'm saying? So like, boom, as we got further in the process of buying the house that we wanted, kind of find out we had to talk to a broker or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but the guy who was a broker, that was her husband. You feel me? So I'm just like, damn. I'm seeing all of this. I'm just like, bro, the whole family is working as a unit. You know what I'm saying? They working under one umbrella. So I'm like, okay, cool. When we go to closing, there's a lady in there, you know what I'm saying? A lady who has all the paperwork. Because when you go to closing, the realtor has to be there. Of course, you got to be there. Everybody got to be there for signing. So the lady who was in there, giving us all the paperwork, come to find out, she was the cousin of the realtor. And I'm just like, bro, these white folk, you know what I'm saying? And it be like that, even in construction, that there's like contractors, and they have a whole family, sons, daughters running a bit, you know what I'm saying? Why is it that everybody else can do this except for us? Every time we attempt to do something like this, it's always a disaster. It's always, you know, somebody tearing somebody down, or uh, uh money, somebody becomes so greedy and all. It's like, I just do not understand the jump, man. It's crazy. And I'm not saying that there aren't melanated people out there who's doing this. There are, you know what I'm saying? There are, and I know a few people, but I don't know, man. It's crazy. But check this out though. The next video, which is going to be the video of tonight that I want y'all to watch, because a lot of people have been asking me ever since 2020, and people been seeing me build and everything. People have been asking questions like, bro, how much did this cost? How much that cost? Can you do a video breaking down the prices and everything like that? Can you show us all the materials and yada yada yada, right? So in this video that I'm about to show y'all, they did exactly everything we did, except for a few things. Like, they didn't build a house or anything. They actually got a shed, if I'm not mistaken, delivered out to the land that they got. But and then I think it's a couple other things that they did that we didn't do. But for the most part, everything you're gonna see in this video is what we did. And a lot of the same stuff that they got, we got. So I felt like this was the perfect video to show y'all. Hopefully it encourages, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Hopefully, it motivates you and inspires you to embark on that journey. Or if you're already on that journey, it can give you some ideas. You know what I'm saying? It can give you some ideas. So let me go ahead and pull it up real quick. All right. And I love it because I feel like other people outside of myself can explain things better than me. You know what I'm saying? Articulate better than me. And if that's the case, then I'm gonna show y'all them. I'm gonna show y'all them. Yeah, I could do a video like this where it's very detailed, but I already know it would take a whole lot of work. But yeah. So I hope y'all enjoy it, man. We're gonna watch it together, and I'll stop in certain points. So here you go.
Over the next 30 days, Kimball, Ben, and I are going to build an off-grid setup for under $25,000. The entire setup, including the land, will cost less than the down payment of today's average American home. And by the end of the setup, you'll never have to pay for utilities again. In this series, we're going to show you how to begin with a starter shelter, like a canvas bell tent, then how to implement a rainwater catchment system for drinking water, a methane digester for green sanitation and cooking fuel, solar panels and a battery system for clean energy, raised beds for local food, and finally, a micro cabin for a more permanent shelter. These systems will meet your water, sanitation, energy, food, and shelter requirements. This is Off-Grid in 30 days.
We had thought about building a cabin from the ground up with the studs and the plywood and the tin roofing, but for the sake of showing how plug and play these off-grid systems can be, we're buying a micro cabin from a portable shed company. These portable sheds range from $5,000 to $15,000. The micro shed that we're purchasing is 10 by 16 feet. It's going to cost just over $6,000, and they deliver it to us on site. We want something that's very portable. We don't want to pay a whole lot of money for a trailer to build a tiny house on wheels. We've done that before. We want something that can be pulled up by the truck to be moved where it needs to go. But before you get going in your cabin shell, the most accessible off-grid dwelling is typically a canvas tent. So we're going to clear the area up there, trim the branches back, mow the grass down, so we've got a clean build site for our canvas tent. Then we're going to get cracking on the micro cabin.
While Kimball utilizes the truck to get to the higher branches for cutting, Ben's going to start mowing.
Okay guys, so for the bell tent, it needs to be a nice and level surface. So I'm using this electric mower that we actually charge using solar. And I'm going to mow a small circle that the bell tent can go on so it's nice and clean.
And while Ben was clearing an area for the bell tent, Kimball was clearing an area for the micro cabin. When Ben was finished with the bell tent area, he then started working on paths, which are really great for structuring your off-grid site. Once Kimball was done making space for the micro cabin, he then made a designated burn pile away from the woods. Then he started to compost.
We're not wasting anything. All the grass clippings are going to be composted to start building that rich soil for all of our raised beds from Epic Gardening. All right, so we've done with the mowing and we're wrapped up with all the trimming. One cool side note, the mowers and the power tools we're using can all be charged by our solar rig, so we're literally using sunlight to do all this cutting. Now that we've got the site cleared for where the canvas tent's gonna go and the micro cabin, we are gonna go grab the canvas tent from our friends Life in Tents. We're super stoked to set up this tent before. We've never set one of theirs up, and that's gonna be our initial shelter here at the off-grid site.
We've never put this model of bell tent together before, but once
And I just want to comment on this right here. So a lot of people that I talk to, I tell them, listen, I be giving them I be trying to get them to see the different options that they can take when it comes to, going off grid or whatever, right? So boom, you get the land, okay? And keep in mind, y'all, you don't have to pay for all of this just up front. You feel me? You can make payments and stuff like that. So if you find some land, you could probably put however much down, and you can make monthly payments anywhere from $200 to $300. In some cases, less than that. It just depends on where it's at and what kind of deal you can come across. Anywho, once you take care of that, right? You okay, what am I going to dwell in while building? You know what I'm saying? Like what kind of living situation could I create for myself? I always recommend these type of tents. The one that they got is super high quality. That's why it costs so much. You know what I'm saying? It's anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000. I don't know if y'all remember, but right before I went off, you know what I'm saying, we started building the house off the grid or whatever, I purchased a ball tent like this or a wall tent like this. You know what I'm saying? Except for mine was in the shape of a house. You know what I'm saying? And I think I paid $1,500 for it. Just the material was high quality. You know what I'm saying? It was fire resistant, mold resistant, all of that. And this one right here that they got, once they set it up, you're going to see what it looks like on the inside. And you can actually put a wood burning stove inside of this. You know what I'm saying? You can have a whole legit setup by getting something like this temporarily while you're, getting your house either built or getting it shipped out there. And I'm going to tell y'all something about the woodshed tiny homes, that you can convert into like an actual home. Again, you don't have to spend $6,000, $7,000 up front. You can make payments on those. All right. And we ain't even worried about the payments or whatever, because listen, when it shit the fan, ain't nobody finna come looking for you saying, hey, you behind on your payments. Come on. So let me get back on it though.
we started, it only took us about 2 hours to finish it. It was really straightforward and really fun.
Bring your own hammer, broom, cleaning mat. Bundle little die line ropes to avoid.
Have to do the A-frame for the door. We're good. Ooh. Guys.
Yeah. And just like that, the bell tent is now put together. All that's left for today is to go pick out a cabin shell and order it.
It's going to take about 7 to 10 days to get the shed delivered, so we're going to go order that now just so we can save on time.
We're currently on our way to go pick out a cabin shell. We've already kind of looked at it before and it seemed like a really good fit, but today we're just going to be verifying that.
The portable shed place we're going to has cabins and portable structures created by Mennonites down in Montezuma, Georgia. Mennonites, insofar that I understand, are like slightly high-tech Amish.
What is the location called?
Montezuma, Georgia. It's where all the Aztec gods came from.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
oh, I bought that. I was like, oh, cool. I feel kind of like an idiot.
This one's actually way bigger than we need. This one looks like someone started finishing it out, but it was probably a repo. See, they did the spray foam and they started like putting drywall up. But I mean, it's an awesome structure for a small house. There's a lot of bigger sheds here that would work great for a bigger project. Our micro cabin is specifically built to be tiny in every respect, to be more energy efficient. And you could make any one of these an off-grid dwelling. We're gonna go check out one that looks like it could be a good potential fit and at least get some photos of the wiring. But it looks like the other location will probably have a better fit for us. This site's got a shell design we really like for the micro cabin. So let's go check it out.
So we're currently waiting on the owner to get back. She's the one that's gonna be able to tell us more about the specs and whatnot. It's pretty warm out. By the way, Ben, we actually found your home. Kim and I will be staying in this. We're thinking something like this is gonna be perfect for you. Ben's bird home.
So funny.
Lame. One of the things we like about this shell design is we just need one gutter for rainwater harvesting. So that tin roof allows us to harvest rainwater. You don't harvest rainwater from an asphalt roof. So one gutter, and then the IBC tanks all go back here with their covers. They stay in the shade. If they're in sunlight, they'll grow more algae. So we want the IBC tanks for water shaded. They're back here. The methane digester will be somewhere within, 10 feet of 10, 20 feet of the off-grid cabin. Joe?
Don't break it.
Welcome to the Taj.
Ooh, it's nice and warm.
So one of the reasons I like this shed as opposed to other shed shells, these are 16-inch on center studs. Other sheds were doing 22 inches, which isn't going to provide as much structural support. This is closer to what you get on an actual house build.
You hear that, Ben? 16, not 22.
Okay. He's mocking me.
No, I'm not. No.
He was.
The owner arrived just a few minutes later, and we were able to complete our purchase. We then headed back home, but first stopped to get some coffee. Because Ben's nice and healthy, he got mango juice. Kimball got a nice little cup of coffee with a giant refill.
Whoa.
And I got a yoo-hoo, and also a mango drink to try to be healthy like Ben. It was kind of gross.
Ooh. Okay, so Kimball just got back with all the supplies for the tent. I'm gonna carry all of that up here, unbox everything, and then set it up in the tent. It's gonna look really cozy. I'm sure there's a way to tie those down. They seem all right. Never mind. Okay, I have no idea how all this stuff got in here, but I'm gonna do a quick sweep because there's a bunch of little debris that I should probably get out before I put down the main carpet.
So this is our Life in Tents Timberline tent, but this tent breathes super well. We've been super happy with it. We want to put a rug on top of the vinyl to avoid puncturing any parts of the vinyl. It's very durable, but we want to play it safe.
Okay, so next we have a blow-up queen-size mattress, which is awesome. We're gonna use the Delta EcoFlow to blow it up. We're gonna plug it in, it's gonna blow up. Okay, so on this side, we're gonna make like the kitchen area of the tent. So I'm gonna start bringing in different things that would make sense to go over at the kitchen. Okay, so first for the kitchen is the Go Sun cooler. This has a built-in battery, so it's gonna keep your things nice and cool for quite a while, especially if you have it plugged in directly to your solar panel or to the Delta EcoFlow. Okay, so now we have a cooktop burner. That's electric, so you can plug that into the Delta as well. We have a kettle, which can be used on top of that. And then we have a French press coffee maker. So yeah, you can definitely make tea or coffee. Okay, so we have 2 more miscellaneous crates. We'll unbox these shortly, but for now, we're just gonna set them to the side. Okay, so because this end is the kitchen part of the tent, I'm gonna unbox and put together the sink, which will go next to the cooler and next to the cooktop burner. We're gonna eventually get some sort of table or crate, and that's what the burner and stuff will go on, and you'll have this to wash up. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this together. Okay, so now I'm in the side of the tent, which is the living room. I got 2 wood chairs. I have this GoSun Breeze fan, which you can power off just 12 volts. So you can use a way smaller battery pack than the Delta. Right here we have the living area. Super basic now, just have the basic chairs. But tomorrow, me, Joe, and Kimball are gonna make this look epic.
Ben brought most of the things we need inside of the tent. We are waiting on the small wood stove to come in still. What we're really missing though are some tables and a few areas for storage. We'll go and see how affordably we can get those items for.
Okay, so we just got back. We got a twin set of these pretty solid tables. We got a round small table and then some big plastic container boxes that we want to turn into the side tables for the bed. Okay, first we have the round table from Salvation Army. I'm thinking we're gonna add this in between the 2 chairs. Okay, now we have the twin set of these pretty sturdy wood tables. So we have the burner with the kettle, so you can make tea and coffee. And then we have coffee grounds right here. We have a plug-in electric heater. We have a few mugs. Underneath, we have the plates, tissue, some tea bags. On this side, we have things for the burner. We have the trash can. Monitor, check. And then we have the Xbox Series S, I believe. Let's say you made some sort of coffee or something and you need creamer. You have this pretty awesome GoSun cooler. This can run, I think, about 6 to 8 hours on its own, but we'll probably hook it up to the Delta so the Delta will keep it topped up. Okay, and this is the foot pump sink. All the dirty water that you wash off with your hands or whatever, if you're washing vegetables or something, all of that water will drain out the back of the tent and into the woods. Okay, so the wood stove is going to be coming in for about a week. So it is getting kind of chilly here in Georgia. So this is actually a heated blanket. So I'll use this to keep warm while we wait for the wood stove.
It got really cold as the day has progressed. We really need the wood stove in here. Okay, this small little heater right here is using 1400 watts, which means the Delta EcoFlow at full power can power this for about half an hour. I think it's 32 minutes. So you can see that when it comes to using energy, heating and cooling takes the cake. We can only power this small heater for just 30 minutes from the one Delta EcoFlow. One solar panel outside is about 400 watts. We would need 3 to 4 of those solar panels with sunlight right now just to cancel out how much is being drawn right now. That just kind of shows you roughly how much energy it takes to heat something.
I'm going to plug in the monitor and the Xbox power cord, and then that'll go underneath the bed to the Delta EcoFlow.
Heating is important, but the real question is, how long can we power the Xbox and the monitor for? I'm going to say we could power this for 10 hours.
9.
The Delta EcoFlow can run this Xbox and the monitor close to 10 hours. So the monitor and Xbox only take 67 watts, whereas the heater takes 1400. Next time you're in your home and you're about to plug in a space heater, just remember the amount of electricity it takes. That's insane.
Okay, so the guys and I are getting a little hungry, so I'm going to use the apples. I'm going to dice them up, sprinkle some cinnamon on them, and bake them in the GoSun solar oven for about 30 minutes. Okay guys, so we just made the applesauce and they're gonna try it. So dig in.
And you might be wondering who this random guy is. Hi.
This is
That's
my,
all you get. We don't know who he is either.
No added sugar, just cinnamon.
Sounds like a applesauce brand that organic soccer moms might like to get.
That was a joke Kimball made off camera, but he didn't make it on camera again. It's pretty good.
It is really good.
Stream over 100 plus channels without long-term contracts.
The market for a worn out hand-me-down.
Today we got a lot of really cool things planned. Currently drinking some mushroom coffee stuff that Ben normally drinks. I thought I'd try it. And to be honest, in terms of how it compares to coffee, it's pretty bad.
Today we're going to be implementing sanitation systems, which will be in the form of a methane digester and a composting toilet. And to even get these systems up and running, we're going to have to set up a few other things. For those that don't know, a methane digester essentially works like a cow stomach. There's a one-time input of water and cow manure. Together, we call this a slurry. All the anaerobic bacteria in the cow manure creates an anaerobic environment.
Yeah, see, we don't got that right there. And it's funny because when before we started building, and I was just looking at materials and things that I wanted, I was looking on YouTube at a lot of, you know, off-grid channels and stuff like that. I do remember seeing this one lady. She was giving a tour. I'm sorry, she was giving a tour of a house, and she had this methane digester thing. And I was like, dang, boy, that's dope. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I started looking it up, looking at the reviews and everything. And I think at the time, the only reason I didn't get it was because when I saw the price, I was just, that kind of like made me go like, nah, because it's too expensive. You know what I'm saying? But I could have got it if I really wanted it, like for real. But it's a cool invention though, for real. Hold on one second.
Within the methane digester. So now we can input all of our food waste inside of the methane digester each day, and the bacteria will break it down into two byproducts. One is liquid fertilizer, which is great for the garden, and the other is methane gas, which we use to cook with. Food waste naturally releases methane in a landfill, and methane gas is 25 times more potent than CO2. So by using the methane digester every day, you roughly cut down on 6 tons of CO2 emissions a year. Lastly, you can connect a flushable toilet to the methane digester, which now is acting like an above-ground septic system, and you can see that a methane digester is a lot more affordable than the traditional septic system.
Since the methane digester requires 1,200 liters of water to function properly, we've got to get a hold of that water. You could do this with rainwater collection, a creek, a stream, a well. Because we already have access to this pond just 30 or 40 feet away, we're gonna pull water from the pond. We don't wanna haul it out manually with buckets. We'd like to use our water pumps. But to use our water pumps to haul all that water up, we need a place to store that water. We're gonna take our IBC totes, which hold 275 gallons of water within them, to temporarily store pond water. But we need electricity before we can pump the water out. So we're gonna set up a 400 watt solar panel to connect to the Delta EcoFlow battery system. So we're gonna use solar energy to power the pumps to pull the water from the lake to the IBC totes, then fill up the methane digester, in addition to setting up the composting outhouse to get us off the ground.
To understand the inputs and outputs of each system that we'll be implementing today and the cost, I'm going to be using our Land Lab simulator, which our team developed this year. You can see that there are already a few systems in here. These are the ones that we added on day one when we made our canvas bell tent and a few other systems. Now that Kimball's listed out all the systems we need for today, let's go ahead and start with the solar panel. We can see that the input is sunlight, which we have plenty of, the output is electricity, and the cost is about $550. So we'll go ahead and add that in. Next, we'll add in our 2 IBC totes. We can see that they range about $150 a piece. We'll add 2 of them in there. Next, we're going to be looking for a water pump, which I'll just slide down on the side column and select it there. Now I'll search for the methane digester. We can see all the inputs we'll be needing for it. And if we take a close look at the inputs, it's showing that we have all the water we need for the methane digester because the sim knows about the pond that I put on our site. So now that I know the inputs and outputs of each system, let's go ahead and order them. All I have to do is click on the system, then press on the link where the cost is. So if we access the system summary, we can now see the total of all the systems we have on site. And by viewing the human needs checklist, we see that we have plenty of water on site. The only issue is none of it's drinking water because we haven't implemented a purifier yet. So after adding in today's systems, we see with an overall off-grid score of 55. Now that everything's planned out, it's time to start on the solar panel.
Hey, that's a good app. That's a good app to get. Let me go back so y'all can get the name of the app. It's a really good, you know what I'm saying? Because it helps you plan out things. Hold on, let me see what they said the name of it was.
from the lake to the IBC totes, then fill up the methane digester, in addition to setting up the composting outhouse to get us off the ground.
To understand the inputs and outputs of each system that we'll be implementing today and the cost, I'm going to be using our LandLab simulator.
Okay, LandLab.app. So just make sure y'all take a screenshot of that. Like I said, this will be very helpful because if you do buy some land, you can kind of like go on the app and I guess create, you know, the whole thing, like just design it the way that you want to, just, you know, set goals for yourself, you know, good tool to have. Let's go back to what he said. Okay, there we go.
So we've got our 400-watt solar panel behind me. The solar panels typically generate 12 to 24 volts of power. So you've got to take that power and then run it to a battery system, often 12 or 24 volt. Then that power goes to an inverter to become 120 volt power that we typically use with household appliances, like the pumps that we're about to connect. So I've got the connecting cables here to connect that 400-watt solar panel to our 1.3 kilowatt EcoFlow battery inverter combo pack. And that gives us a very simple but affordable way of converting electricity from sunlight right here for the off-grid build.
Now we just need to connect our water pump to a hose, put one side of the water pump into the pond, connect it to power, and then connect the hose to our IBC totes, which will complete this entire setup.
These IBC totes are all food grade. That's critical. Even though
Yep, and I really didn't speak on that in none of my videos about the IBC totes because we got like 4 of them out there. And yeah, so if you're interested in getting IBC totes, make sure they are food grade. You understand what I'm saying? And you can look on Craigslist, you can look on Facebook Marketplace. They have some IB tote stores that you can look up. But yeah, these right here are essential for collecting rainwater, you know, having a tank just for the garden, having a tank for, you know, different things or whatever. You can even use these tanks if you wanted to like do it yourself, septic system or whatever. You can do that too. You know what I'm saying? You could put these tanks like kind of dig a hole in the ground, put these tanks down in there or whatever. It's so many options, man. So it's beautiful. I'm telling y'all.
we're putting pond water in them, we want them to be free of any type of diesel fuel or formaldehyde or toxic chemicals. These used to contain corn syrup and then syrup for like ginger ale. So these are totally food grade, safe to use. We buy these from a supplier up in Atlanta. You can likely find these in any like mid-sized to major city near you.
Now that we have the solar and IBC totes set up and all the water we need filling up the IBC totes for the methane digester later, it's time to go ahead and get cracking on the composting toilet because it's going to take a while for these IBC totes to fill up.
I've got the trusty clippers again. To make the composting toilet outhouse more secluded and private, we're going to cut a little path towards the magnolia tree that's farther into the woods. That keeps the composting toilet outhouse a little bit more off the beaten path just to promote more privacy. Sometimes the loppers are just a little too slow. I've been going full frugal recently. I made a bunch of beans and rice last night in the Instant Pot. We're heating things up in the ghost sun. You can see it's already steaming, so it's almost lunchtime.
So Ben was just raking in here and he uncovered an old disc golf disc I used to play back in the day. Let's see if I still have it. All right, this is for all the people that said I couldn't go pro. Well, after affirming the reason that I'm not a pro disc golfer, it was time to build a composting toilet.
All right, let's explain all the elements of our composting toilet canvas outhouse. We've pieced all this together to make a really well-functioning outdoor bathroom with a canvas enclosure. We just made a simple deck out of decking boards and then 2x4s. We set that on pavers, the tiny mobile foundation. We're using a Nature's Head compost toilet. That is the beating heart, the gem of the compost.
And when we first moved out there, what was it, last year, the year before last, when we moved out there, right, we was pooping in buckets. Yeah, we was pooping in buckets. I mean, a lot of people who live off grid, they do that and don't have a problem with that. It's only those of us who are, you know, we're so used to being in the cities and, you know, just we got the toilets and everything, you know what I'm saying? But most people who live in the country, they do just poop in buckets. Um, but this right here, which is it's called a Nature Heads composting toilet. I don't got this one, but I just bought it's another one. I can't remember the name of it. But it's a composting toilet though. But these right here are really, you know, they're just like toilets for real. The only thing is they don't flush like toilets, but they got two sections in them. They got a section that you your pee goes into, and then they got a section where your boo-boo goes into. And then now on this model or this one right here, it got the turn thing. So you, as you're turning that, you know what I'm saying, the sawdust or the peat moss or whatever they're using inside of it, you feel me, it's like mixing the boo-boo or whatever, it's drying it out and all of that. So that eliminates the smell. And plus on this model, this vent right here, they have a thing where you put like a vent thing and then it goes outside, and then it has a air blower or something like that. It's like a 12-volt air blower. When you're using it, you turn that, I think it activates, and that helps, you know, the smell go outside or whatever. So yeah, this was something that I wanted to invest in. And like I say, it's really preference for real. You don't have to get these, because I'm gonna tell y'all, this one right here, the Nature Head, it's like I want to say $1,000. It's like $1,000. You feel me? The one I got was like 900. But yeah, like I say, if you want to save a whole lot of money, you feel me, I'm talking $5. Just spending $5, go get you a couple buckets from Lowe's or Home Depot and call it a day. You feel me? Yes, you're gonna have to take them out and all that, but yeah, just thought I should add that.
Composting outhouse. Then we've got our 5-gallon bucket of peat moss. The peat moss is what you mix into the toilet for number 2s to soak up excess moisture and then just to dry it out to where it starts turning into soil. The composting toilet diverts urine from solid waste. That's the magic of the composting toilet. When you mix those together, you get disgusting sewage. You keep them separate, you can use both elements to fertilize trees, bushes, and whatnot. Then we've got the canvas shell of the canvas outhouse. The canvas shell was $300. We ordered that online. Then we had to go purchase metal electrical conduit. That conduit is the frame for the outhouse. We did have to buy that separately. It was not included in the canvas outhouse. We've got a pedal-powered sink that can contain a few gallons of water down below. Use your foot to push the pedal, and it sends water up to the sink area where you can wash your hands. We've been super happy with it. We bought ours for about $90 online. I love how elegant it is, and you don't need municipal water to supply it. We have a 5-gallon bucket of charcoal. That's where the air from the fan in the composting toilet is vented. That soaks up any small odors that might still remain. People can sometimes be a little leery of composting toilets. We want to show just how slick this setup can be. The composting toilet requires 12-volt power to run a small fan. The fan keeps solid waste dried out. That is part of the effectiveness of the composting toilet.
Now that the composting toilet is finished, it's time to wrap up the methane digester. As we can see, the IBC totes are now full of water, meaning we can start the pumping process into the methane digester. One of the important parts to the methane digester are the sandbags on the top, because they pressurize the methane to send it to the cooktop stove. Okay, so we need sand for the methane digester. Here's the problem. All the sand around this pond is actually just on one end of it, and all of our neighbors have private property, so we can't walk through it. So anyway, we're gonna send Ben to go get it.
Okay guys, so I got my kayak, I got the little raft. I'm gonna tie the raft to the kayak. I have a shovel and then a bucket for the sand. I'm excited.
Yep, you just tore a giant hole right there.
Well, we have two. Will it work?
While the SS Benjamin sails the high ponds looking for sand, we're going to set up a small fire pit here to start burning down the brush pile, create a little bit of ash to add to the compost, and just build the campfire that we've been wanting out here.
So while the methane digester is being filled up with water and Ben is getting sand, a lot of you might be wondering how we also got the cow manure for the methane digester. Kimball and I actually went out and asked a farmer if we could use his cow manure from his cows, and he said yes, even though he thought it was kind of weird. And I really can't blame him.
So the methane digester is filling with water now. Even though it's cloudy outside, we're still getting about 60 watts of power coming out of the solar panel, charging the battery's powering the pump's moving the water. We've got brush burning down there while Ben's getting sand to pressurize the methane digester.
All right, I'm gonna go check on Ben, see where he's at with the sand. Hey, dude.
Joe, I don't think I'm gonna make it.
Wait, what?
There's like this weird goopy sand. I'm afraid to step on it.
Well, okay.
So we ended up having to go get sand somewhere else, and then we started on the slurry.
Delicious.
How is that working out for you?
Pretty good. Shovel just fits in the bucket. It's like a giant Vitamix for crap. Joe is going to mix the last bucket of slurry. We saved you half a bucket of grade A cow poop.
Nice.
We're gonna need you to shovel this into that 5-gallon bucket. Then I'm gonna turn on the water pump so you can mix the slurry. You see my hands, Joe?
Hey, don't forget, I was the one that went and picked this up with you, okay?
That's true, he did.
Cut to that footage.
I've got my bucket here, and I've got my shovel. I'm gonna go scoop some poop.
Oh, I already got it on my finger.
Put that in a bucket. I feel like this is like off-grid hazing. And then you can use your weapon of choice to stir it.
You wanna know what freedom sounds like?
Ben, what'd you think?
That was pretty fun.
Was it really?
No, it wasn't. Little gross.
Today, we'll be constructing a 200 square foot greenhouse that only cost us $250. The entire thing only took an hour and a half to set up. We'll be filling it up with our seedlings and showing you all our unique process for creating our own potting soil. And lastly, we'll be constructing raised beds and going over why you want to set them up now during fall time instead of spring. We decided to start on the greenhouse first. The package came with the greenhouse sleeve and all the framing to hold it into place. We then save all the cardboard to help us start fires in the future. We first laid out all the framing into the rough greenhouse shape. We then connected each frame piece with bolts and tightened it up. With the foundation frame being done, we could then move on to the vertical posts, and then add in the supporting cross beams. It took about 45 minutes to add all the vertical posts in. Once this stage was completed, we could then start on the overhead support hoops. This stage definitely requires at least 2 people, as the first person needs to hold the hoop into place, and the second person needs to...
But yeah, you know, it's stuff like this that I see, man. It really makes me mad because, like I told y'all in the other video, I just feel like just people in general, not just melanated people, but I'm really talking about melanated people, because when it comes to this, it's always Caucasians. It's always Caucasian that's out there working together, you know what I'm saying, as a team, making all this junk happen. They out there, you know. But when it comes to us, I don't know. I just don't know. I do not know. It's a beautiful thing to see though, man, because I know everybody got potential. Everybody got potential. And like I said, nobody should be doing anything alone. Like, man, I just can't imagine, bro. Like, if y'all can get on this, start educating yourselves on how to be self-sufficient, how to be independent, and do all these things for yourself and not have to depend on no government, no utility company, none of that. Man, come on, bro. Come on, man. I wish more people would start thinking this way, man.
to tighten everything up. Once all 5 support hoops are in place, you'll set up 3 support beams that span the length of the greenhouse. You can see that there's some pretty bad warping right now, but once we implement all 3 of these support beams, all the warping will go away. And lastly, for the frame, we'll make sure everything's nice and tight. With the frame being completed, we can now move it to exactly where we want, which for us will be over our methane digester, which Kimball will explain.
So the greenhouse gives us a lot of benefits for this off-grid build. The biggest benefit here in October is it allows us to operate the methane digester without...
Hold on. So Angie, check this out though. That's true. I know that individually we all don't really got the money like that, and the means and the resources like that. But that's why I keep, you know, emphasizing community. You feel me? Like together we can make this happen. It can be so easy. So just like them, they did this within 30 days. Now I'm not saying that if, you know, we all were to come together, we'll be able to do all this in 30 days, but I'm certain that it wouldn't even take us 2 months if we all came together and did this. You know what I'm saying? Like, put our money together, because it's cheaper. It's a whole lot cheaper for us to invest in things if we did it together, as opposed to one individual doing it. And I'm speaking for my, like, based on my own experience. Everything that I bought, I'm not gonna say every single thing, but probably 90 to 95% of everything that I have, I bought myself. And it didn't happen all at one time. It happened over, you know, the course of maybe months, years, but I was able to get everything. You know what I'm saying? I know some people may see like, dang, and y'all could got this and y'all could got that, but all of this stuff, and I took advantage of my tax returns. You feel me? Tax time is coming back around, right? I think they're gonna start filing them, or start, you know, initialize, what's the word I'm looking for? They're gonna start processing taxes after January the 29th. So this is an opportunity, right? And that's if nothing crazy in the world happen. But this is an opportunity for y'all to take advantage, right? I can't tell another grown person what to do with their money, but shit, peak game. I know people gonna get anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 back. What y'all should do is sit down, you know what I'm saying, and just pray to the Most High, and really move off the spirit though, but just kind of create goals for yourself. Okay, this is what I want to do. I know I'm gonna have all this money coming, right? And then, like I say, it's all about how you spend your money, and what you spend your money on. You know, that's why, like me right now, I'm not worried about clothes. I haven't been splurging on clothes, and I'm talking for like probably about 6 years. I don't care about shopping for clothes. I don't care about none of that stuff. What I do with my money, I make investments. I've always made investments. You feel me? Like, okay, boom, I get paid every week. I know my checks. I know what my checks are gonna be. I know what bills I got. Okay, boom. I got it set it up. I got it set up to where, okay, my phone bill, my car note, my insurance, you know, they're due on these dates. I get paid 3-4 times in a month. Okay, boom. I pay all that stuff off. I put money aside to cover all that stuff. So boom, I'm already creating budgets. I'm putting money to the side for, you know, it could be anything, you know. Like right now, what am I looking to buy soon? Well, I'm still doing the add-on, so I need insulation and all that. So boom, I know the insulation probably gonna be about $100 to $200. I know that we got sheds that we want to build, chicken coops and all that. So, you know, I'm putting together price sheets. I'm looking at how much the wood is gonna cost and all that, right? So boom, you know, I just do it like that, man. Just I know I'm gonna need this stuff, so I just set money aside. But anyway, I ain't mean to go on that long little rant. But yeah, sis, like I say, if people were to work together, you know, it'll be so much easier. That's my issue. I'm straight up alone. Yeah. It has to do with the environment and circumstances of chance we group under. We have to remember how far removed we are from this. We are heavily destroyed as a people, plus other races have more opportunities than us. and access to money. But see, even like I say, bro, melanated people, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? We're heavily programmed and conditioned. I get that, and under mind control. But the access to the money part, you got to think, melanated people are the number one consumers. We spend our money on all this other stuff, you feel me? And I get it. It's gonna have to take a lot of reprogramming and re-educating. You know, yeah. It's gonna be a lot. I'm about to step out on my own too though. Can't keep waiting on nobody, family or not. I have work to do and purpose as well. Anybody else in here want to come together and just build? Telling you, I'm with it, bro. I'm telling you, I already see me and you already talked. Real talk. Hello, mission. Real talk. I've been down, just waiting patiently back when we start Family Laugh Aloud. I pray to him, present it to me, and run confirmation. But yeah.
The added heat increase, the methane digester likely would not activate. It could be pretty cool outdoors, but here in the greenhouse, we're consistently getting temps into the 60s, 70s, sometimes 80s, even in October. The greenhouse can easily raise the temperature by 10 degrees, sometimes as much as 20 degrees or more from the outside temp. Beyond that, the greenhouse gives us a great spot for starting seedlings of more cool weather plants that we're looking to replant into our grow bags or the raised beds. Beyond that, we could even take this greenhouse and, if we wanted to, abut it next to the mini cabin. Greenhouses can act as a solarium to give you more warm air during the wintertime. That's a big miss that we have here in the US in particular. We don't take advantage of solariums or passive heating with our homes. So the greenhouse has many different functions, from warming the methane digester, helping us start seedlings, giving us a good spot for some storage that we need before the micro cabin's delivered, and just giving us more warmer temps as we're working outdoors.
The last stage of the greenhouse is implementing the sleeve, which was really fun and really easy. With the greenhouse being fully set up, we can now move on to the seedlings. Once we have one of our tables set up, we can then start on the potting soil process. We'll first drive over to our urban land lab and pick up some compost from our older compost piles. We only need about 1 bucket's worth for seedlings, but you can never have too much compost, so we might as well get a few other buckets while we're here. Once we have all the compost we need, we'll then pick up our sifter. Now that we have everything we need, we can head on back and start on the potting soil process. The first thing we'll do is put our sifter over our wagon. Then we'll open up all the buckets and start to pour the compost onto the sifter. We first use a shovel to break up all the big pieces of compost, then we switch to our hands. This gives us more control over the process, and it allows us to save any earthworms that may have fallen in from the buckets. Now all the soil that's gone through the sifter is aerated and fluffy. We like to use the seed cells and seed trays from Epic Gardening because they don't use the flimsy plastic, but a really sturdy plastic that will last a lifetime. And then we always use botanical interest seeds because they're heirloom and they never come with any duds in them. Now that we have all of our seed cells set up and the methane digester getting the warmth that it needs, our greenhouse is now complete. We then moved the IBC totes so that way we could put the raised beds next to the greenhouse. The only issue was one of them was still full. Kimball wasn't there at this time, and it's going to take hours for all the water to come out of the faucet. We had to flip it over to make it fast.
Hey, what happens when it gets below the hole?
Because the water would soon stop draining because of the hole being in the middle, we had to flip it one more time, then put blocks underneath it, which was pretty hard. With the IBC tanks being out of the way, we could now start on the raised beds.
Even though we're months away from the spring and summer growing season, we've gone ahead and set up our bigger raised beds because it's gonna take some time to fill them up. We're gonna need to be taking logs, leaves, grass clippings, all types of bulk and biomass to cover up the first few feet on these tall raised beds. We get our tall raised beds set up first so we can bulk them up on the bottom, then cover the top half with richer soil, compost, biochar. That way we save money because good quality soil costs a lot of money, takes time to build, and we go ahead and get a jump on the things, logs and the other biomass on the bottom half decomposing during winter.
This is how we fill our raised beds with nutrient-rich material for free. All 5 layers can be easily collected or created. Today we'll be using some equipment from our Acorn Land Lab as we have yet to build it at our off-grid site. The first material for raised beds are logs.
To fill up our biggest epic birdies raised beds, we want as much cheap filler on the bottom as possible. Now when I say cheap, I don't mean anything that's got any type of impurities or toxins in it. We want old rotted wood. The older and the more rotted, the better. So we've got all these stumps and old firewood that's been decomposing outside, bark from a pine tree. We're gonna cut a lot of this down to size and use it as a filler on the base. The wood still has to decompose, so we don't want that near where the plant roots are gonna be, just as a base to prop up the higher quality soil. So you start with the cheapest stuff. Lots of wood on the bottom, rotted wood, funky wood.
The second layer for our raised beds is a mixture between leaves and grass.
Using the Ego mower to mow up the last of the summer grass and some of the leaves, take all that biomass to put in the bottom of the raised beds. Important note, make sure you don't use grass clippings that have been treated with pesticides or herbicides. Those types of chemicals can kill your veggie plants and put unwanted toxins in your potential food.
The third layer for your raised bed is compost. It's one of the most important layers.
This is what it's going to look like once we've got more compost layered on. It'll continue compressing the leaves and the grass clippings over the next few months leading up to spring.
Our fourth layer for the raised beds is biochar. Biochar is charcoal that has been inoculated with microbes. We first make charcoal by placing a small tin drum inside of a bigger tin drum. We fill the inner barrel with biomass, ranging from wood to okra stalks to coffee stirs. We call this biomass the feedstock. We then surround the inner barrel with wood. We then light the outer wood on fire, which superheats the inner barrel. The outer wood turns into ash, but the inside was never touched by open flame. It turns just into charcoal.
Once you've got the charcoal that's completely extinguished, you can then crush it up, add it to compost directly so it gets inoculated with microbes and nutrients, or put it in a bath of liquid fertilizer, the type of J-Dam fertilizer we brew in our big tanks.
The final layer is bone meal, which adds a lot of phosphorus to your raised bed. To make bone meal, we put pig and deer bones into a barrel. We place wood on top of that and light it on fire. Once the bones are brittle, you can crush it up into bone meal. To get started on your raised beds now, go over to Epic Gardening to get your raised beds 5% off by using the code ALL5.
Are you interested in starting your own faceless YouTube automation channel, but all
Cabin on the trailer behind us. These are special trailers. These haulers are made to take prefab sheds, pull them up on a ramp, and then lower them back down on the ramp. They're going to be using a small vehicle called a mule to move this prefab shed. I didn't know any of these tools existed 6 months ago. Actually, I didn't know they existed a month ago. We were researching these sheds to see if it would work as a shell for a tiny home. Once we learned how mobile these sheds truly are with the trailer and the mule for positioning, it makes so much sense to use these as a prefab cabin.
And this is why I tell people that's looking to buy land, you know, right now, in this day and age, you feel me? I don't know when things are going to pop off or whatever, but I would say that if you're looking for land, make sure you get some flat land. Like if you don't want to spend a whole lot of time building or whatever, you feel me? This right here would be the next option. All right. You buy some flat land, and the only way this is possible is by buying flat land. Because if you up in the hills, if your driveway ain't good for this truck to drive on and to deliver these, yeah, you might as well forget about it. You know what I'm saying? But if you want flat land, 9 times out of 10, they'll be able to bring this out and have it, you know, delivered or whatever, and you can just go from there. You know what I'm saying? Get to working on it, making it a home.
cabin is finally here. I say finally, we ordered it 2 weeks ago, but we're thrilled that it's here because now we can really start moving on all the off-grid systems that plug into this cabin shell. This cabin shell is 200 square feet. The cabin is 10 by 20 feet, and it's about 7 to 8 feet tall in the front. We haven't measured it yet. And then about 6 to 7 feet tall in the back. It's got a very gradual roof slope to it. We can get away with that in Georgia because we don't have heavy snow load. If you're in a state or a region of the world with heavy snow loads, you need a steeper roof to shed snow more efficiently. Here, we hardly ever see snow, so a gradual grade on the roof is not a big deal. And we wanted one simple roof, just a square for a roof, to allow rainwater catchment to be more simplistic, to have one gutter going along the back. So now we're gonna actually start moving things around the cabin to get systems in place. We're gonna move the IBC rainwater tanks to the back of the cabin. We're gonna clear these cinder blocks that we didn't need for leveling the cabin up towards the front so we can level our deck. We're gonna move the raised beds to either side of the deck, and then we'll start just getting things organized for future systems being implemented. One of the reasons we really like this cabin shed shell design is it has quite a few windows on it. The double doors have windows. There's a window to the left and right of the double doors, and there's a window on the left and right wall of the cabin. We face the cabin towards the south to take advantage of southern sunlight in the wintertime to warm up the cabin building. This is not a true passive building, not yet at least, and it probably won't be fully passive at any point in time because we are leveraging the AC unit or the micro wood stove. But if we can make the building partially passive, it'll reduce the amount of heating we have to do in the building. So we've got it here on the edge of the tree line facing south to take advantage of the southern sunbeams coming in to warm the cabin space. Okay, we've got the raised beds moved into position. We've got the solid capstone pavers for a little bitty foundation where the deck is gonna go. We've got the rainwater IBC tanks moved into the back. So now we're gonna go pick up the deck. This is the deck that we had in front of the canvas tent at my house. So we're repurposing this little wooden deck to go in front of the micro cabin. We've also got the black battery case for the big lithium batteries to power the micro cabin. We've got the table saw that we're going to be using for small carpentry projects like the bathhouse, leveling the deck, and other miscellaneous projects to get the off-grid cabin all ship shape. We're going to plug the table saw into the Delta EcoFlow. The Delta EcoFlow, of course, is being powered by Old Faithful, our 400-watt solar panel, to help us get the build project all going. So we've got a deck now. It's not perfect yet, but it's very functional. We've got a few cinder block steps. We've got the deck eyeball leveled. We'll level it up more with some shims later. But for now, just to be able to, cut pieces of wood on, have a transition into the tiny cabin, this deck works great. The drip edging above me is one of the elements we really liked about this shed design. Some of the cabin shells or sheds don't have a roof line or a drip line that makes it super easy to install gutters for rainwater collection. This shed has a perfect drip line for rainwater catchment. You can see the tin roofing hangs over about 2 inches, and then we've got the drip edging underneath of the tin roofing. Ben and I can install gutters very quickly underneath of that, routing the water down into our food grade IBC tanks for the rainwater collection. We really like the way this was finished out on the inside because there's 16-inch on center studs. That's the spec for residential building. Not that the whole micro shell is up to residential codes, it's probably not, but these sheds are built to a higher degree of quality than most portable sheds. So the studs being close together is great. The roof is fairly low, but none of us are super tall people. We like how it's gonna be more of a cozy fit, but this low slung shed style roof, will allow us to put hooks for storage and other types of cool features. All the windows in here give a lot of natural light, which we think is great.
After the cabin arrived, we started on our chicken coop and kept it under $50. The first thing you want to do is look for a hardware store or warehouse. And 9 times out of 10, if you ask nicely, they'll give you their leftover wooden pallets for free. There's usually multiple sizes to choose from, and there's usually plenty of them. Now we need to find a tarp for the roof, but it needs to be made out of vinyl so it lasts for years through the weather. And we prefer it to be free. And the answer is right in front of you. It's billboards. Because hundreds of billboard tarps are made every day, and they're hard to recycle, billboard companies give them away for free all the time. We can also get other pieces of scrap wood from hardware stores where they're given out for free. We're using leftover post and chicken mesh from a past project, but you can get both of these on Amazon for about $40.
First, we're gonna level out the site. We're on a bit of a slope here, so we're gonna use 2x4s, some 1x4 by 1/2 inch boards as shims, and then cinder blocks to level up our pallet walls. We're basically gonna make a partial cube out of pallets. Then we're gonna work on structural support, and then adding the little peaked roof, adding the billboard vinyl, and then adding roosting bars for the chickens. There won't be any perfectly 90-degree angles. There won't be any perfect corners. It's not going to be perfectly level. There's nothing perfect about this chicken coop, but it's mostly free, and we're not going to agonize about the details too much because we just need it to be functional, and I think the chickens are going to like it. So what we've done is we leveled out the 2x4s, the shims, and the cinder blocks. We got our walls up. We got a back put on. We got some supports put on the top. Now we need to work on fashioning the roof, which we'll cover in billboard tarp. It's not going to be winning any beauty contests, but we're still trying to make it look as tidy as we can. We've got the roof stapled on and under pretty well. Now we're going to just use a utility blade to kind of trim things up before we do the last few staples. Now we're going to tidy up the foundation, just cut some of the excess wood, get the scrap wood out of the way. I had to contort myself to climb under these roosting bars in the netting, but it's important that we put wood inside the chicken coop between the ground and the bottom of the pallets. Those gaps are perfect for critters to just crawl through. All the netting is pointless if critters can crawl through the bottom. We're building the run, so we want to see how many feet of run we can get away with the amount of materials we have left over. We'll take this garden stake and then use the T-post hammer and then just temporarily put this in a little bit to make sure that all of the mesh we have left over matches up and can stretch around the run. Today is insulation day. We're making this 200 square foot cabin snug and warm.
Winter is coming.
Havelock wool is one of the only sheep's wool insulation providers here in the States. This wool is popular for insulating tiny homes, cabins, RVs, camper vans. It is the most non-toxic insulation you can possibly use and one of the most sustainable types of insulation.
So my biggest question is, I guess, when it comes to wool is, why wool?
Why wool? All right, so for starters, we didn't have to wear protective gear to install this.
Every time I've ever seen photos, they're always wearing a full hazmat suit and whatnot.
Hazmat suit.
Right. Is it toxic when they're spraying it, but afterwards, once it's all ready to go and it's sealed up, it's safe?
What do you think?
Probably not.
There's a term for it, off-gassing.
Off-gassing.
The more I've read about our health, products and companies and building materials, foods, nothing is like so toxic it'll kill you in a day or two.
Yeah.
But so many of these products that are synthetic kill you just a little bit, month after month after month.
And they all
add up. Exactly. So it's like death by 1,000 cuts. Let's say we're done with this shed one day. Let's say we've used it for 30 or 40 years and it's served an amazing purpose. Super affordable. The wood on the inside, even the wood on the outside. Now, I don't know what's in the paint, but this wool is compostable. This whole thing can go back to the earth. We can grow more grass to feed more sheep and grow more wool.
Yeah.
That's a circular loop.
That is pretty awesome.
Can you do that with fiberglass?
No.
Foam?
No.
Rock wool?
Definitely not.
No. So we've got a bat of Havelock wool insulation here. This side on the back.
And I think I'm gonna get some of this because I haven't gotten the insulation yet. 16 on center. See, I love this. Let me take a picture of this because I ain't gonna lie, I got the rock wool, and when I looked at the science behind the rock wool, I didn't see anything bad about it, honestly, because it was made of materials from the earth. You know what I'm saying? But I think I'm gonna see how much this costs right here. Half lock wool for wall. Okay, 16 inches on center. So, yeah, and see that's good too. Hold on 1 second. Take a picture of that.
So we've got a bat of Havelock wool insulation here. This side on the back seems to be less fluffy and just more of a continuous mat. And then this side here is got all the fluff going on. We've got these 16-inch wide pieces. It's about 3 feet long, 4 feet long or so. So we'll begin putting these up and then stapling them in place. The first staple. We staple the top so that the whole bat doesn't slide down or the bat doesn't peel over like a fish mouth. It just helps anchor things. With the online video, we saw that people were using an insulation knife to cut the insulation. So we were like, hey, it looks like a steak knife or a bread knife. So we got ours to try to avoid buying an extra tool. It works, but it would take us about 3 or 4 minutes to make every single cut.
It's going to take us like 3 years to get this done.
So we're going to run to Ace Hardware, pick up a pair of shears and an insulation knife because this bad boy belongs in the kitchen and is not rated for cutting sheep's wool. Then do you see the insulation knives? I know. Got more staples. We need those for the insulation. Hopefully these Fisker scissors will do the trick, and we've got some more staples as well.
And the price is really not that much more. Yeah, it's really not. Like fiberglass can cost between 60 cents on the low end to $1.50 or more. Okay. The wool can cost $1.20 to $1.50 up to $2.25 for the same square foot. So it's a little bit more expensive, but since we already recommend you downsize to a shelter of this size, you're still going to come out ahead. Like it's going to be more affordable compared to a normal house. Yeah. So go small. It'll still be very affordable. And this is what people don't factor in when you're using non-toxic elements. How much are you saving in medical bills 2 decades down the road? No one does that math, and we all should be. Right. It's like for the food we buy, are we factoring in medical bills? Are we factoring in future chemo treatments? That sounds grim, but it's true. The shells, the homes we're in have a huge impact. So spray foam, off gases, fiberglass, you still need a mask set up. Yeah. What we used here for this cabin, this micro cabin, was about just under $1,000 worth of insulation. For a small home like this, that's really not bad. And especially because my baby boys are going to be playing in this.
Watch Super Bowl 58 live on CBS with YouTube TV. Try it free. Terms apply. Cancel anytime.
Right. We want it to be safe. Right. So 200 square feet, it was $1,000 for all 4 walls and the roof. And the ceiling. Yeah. Yeah, the ceiling.
It's not even 11 o'clock and we're over halfway done. All the walls are insulated. Now we just have to insulate the ceiling, which will take a little bit more finesse with a stepladder and then our stapler.
And we got lucky because these slabs of insulation are 45 inches across. And between the beams on the roof, it's 22 inches. So basically we just have to cut those in half and then we can just
cut them in half like 1,000 times.
My knuckles are a little bit raw after cutting all that wool.
Since we're putting it into the roof, all the stuff is falling into our eyes. So now we look pretty snazzy. Oh yeah. Well, he looks like really smart. These are my wife's, so I probably just look, I don't know, a little less manly today.
The wool's compostable. It's really not that much more expensive. It's actually cheaper than some types of insulation. Every time we create a new man-made synthetic, it's like, oh, it's safe, until they do the studies in 10 years. Oh, it's not. Yeah. And there's a class action lawsuit, and you end up seeing a commercial at late night TV. It's like, do you suffer from mesothelioma? Well, you too can get money from this class action lawsuit. Right. I feel like there's a common pattern when people want to use something that's more natural, more organic, even with food. It's always a markup in price. Even with this wool, it's more expensive. Why is it more expensive? It's not used more. Economies of scale make things cheaper. Right, okay. So there's a lack of awareness for sheep's wool. The number of sheep farmed and raised in the US has been declining over the years because as a people, Americans are not too hot on lamb or mutton. Oh, so
because I guess the biggest purpose of having a sheep is first for its meat.
Yeah.
And then a secondary, it's the wool.
That's right.
So if a nation is not big into the meat itself, you're just not going to see much wool because there's not many sheep in the area.
Right, not on site. Now this wool comes from New Zealand. They've got sheep out of their ears. They've got a climate similar to, you know, England, Ireland, temperate. Because international shipping is still so cheap, it cost more for the trucks to bring this to us here from Nevada than it cost for that wool to go across the ocean, the Pacific, in a container.
Really?
Yeah. So ocean-going shipping is dirt cheap compared to trucking.
How much did we pay for shipping for this?
We paid a little over $500 to ship this from Reno, Nevada to here.
And I'll throw up that shot again where it shows it coming in on our truck. Now, we had picked it up from
a semi.
Shipping
by water cost a fraction of what shipping by rail is. Shipping by rail is a fraction of what shipping by truck is. We don't have the same cleaning facilities here in the US yet. I would love to see products like this catch on more.
Yeah.
You know, hemp insulation is promising. Wool insulation is my favorite I've used so far.
Yeah.
For the tiny house project a while back, we used denim insulation.
Denim, just jeans.
Recycled blue jeans, basically.
Oh, literally recycled jeans.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Recycled jeans.
It only took us, would y'all say collectively, it took the three of us 1:45 to 2 hours if you cut out when we went and got coffee and stuff?
Yeah, I'd say 2 to 3 hours max. Yeah, it's been a blast so far. Hoping other people can see this is possible. Today, we are tackling flooring. We're going to be using LVP, luxury vinyl plank, on the floor of the micro cabin. LVP is a composite engineered material, works really well for affordable, waterproof floors. We have young kids, they spill liquids all over the place on a frequent basis, so we like things that are affordable. So LVP checks a number of the boxes off for us. Oh dear. All right, we've got the first roll of blue underlayment put down. Now we're going to start laying the flooring across it and then lay more underlayment as we need it. So for installing LVP, you don't need too much really. You need a mallet. This is, I think it's called a hanger. This is just used for tightening up the LVP and pulling it into position. These are spacers. We don't want the LVP right up against the studs. We want a little wiggle room.
I ain't gonna lie, when it came to the flooring, that was one of the most expensive things that oh man, I'm a pretty honest person, but I don't know if I want to be honest about how I went about getting everything for my tiny home. I'm gonna let y'all think about it, but yeah, when the flooring came out to be, I think when I totaled everything up, came out to be like $1,100 for because I got the vinyl planks. I think he said it what LVP or something like that. I got the vinyl planks. I got the highest quality kind, waterproof. They're the big planks. You know what I'm saying? I think per box it was like eight boards that come in the box, and I think one box was like $70, bro. 70. So again, I will let y'all think. Listen, I ain't finna say I plead the fifth on that, but yeah, I ain't who, not me. Hey, pay that out. Hey.
So the last piece here is too long. We're gonna have to cut it to make sure that this is one continual flow. So we're gonna flip the board over, measure the excess, then take it to the table saw to cut. We've got the Delta EcoFlow all powered up from the solar panel, powering the table saw to make all the cuts on the LVP. So we don't want the seams of the boards all lining up. That'll look weird and it'll just compromise the integrity of the floor. Seam, board across, seam, board across. So we're using the scrap piece from the last cut to begin this next row to offset all the seams on this next row of boards. All right, we're done with the first row of flooring on top of the underlayment. We're gonna roll another section of underlayment. So this LVP we used was left over from our previous project because we're trying to do the project as cost effectively as we can. We need one more box to finish out this floor. We looked at Floor and Decor's website where we got this from originally, and a box of LVP was $95. We're like, okay, let's ship it to the store or ship it to our house. Floor and Decor wants to charge us $300 for shipping. We are not buying that last box we need. So we're gonna go to Floor and Decor looking for new core 5mm LVP and just try our best to color match it. We found it. We found the 5.5mm coffee oak. It's not the same color as what we've been using, but it's what they have here. You can probably find leftover LVP on Facebook Marketplace, perhaps even flooring installers, Craigslist, to do your own tiny house or cabin project on the cheap. All right, let's see how bad the color mismatch is. Can't even notice it. Barely visible. Very subtle. Welcome to the mudroom. We're actually going to leave the corners unfloored and make a 2x4 box. It's going to be an access port, so we can drill holes for electrical or water lines to leave the shed. So those will just give us egress and ingress if we're trying to get pipes and cables in and out of the shed. We did it. The LVP is in. So we've got the LVP on top of that underlayment. We used LVP we had from a prior project to save money. We ran out of it and had to go buy this chocolate LVP. Honestly, it looks like a design choice. This looks like a Vogue boho interior designer came in and said, let's make the first band coffee oak and then make the rest of the floor blonde oak. It's going to have this feng shui where people can understand that there are earthier vibes when you're entering the building and it turns lighter and airier as you come in. We're actually just cheap, but I'm hoping that's what people think when they enter into our micro cabin. Time to put up the interior walls. So we measured the perimeter of the building. Now it's a 10 by 20 foot shed shell. So we've got 60 feet of perimeter, and we're actually using 4 by 8 foot pieces of plywood as the interior cladding. We're avoiding sheetrock because even though sheetrock is cheap, it would crumble potentially and crack. When we move this portable cabin from place to place, plywood will actually increase the structural integrity of this entire micro cabin. So we're going with a really well finished plywood. It's birch. We're using 1/4 inch plywood for the ceiling, 1/2 inch plywood for the walls. We've already picked up all the plywood at Home Depot. So we've got the plywood unloaded. Now we're going to start taking the final measurements, making the cuts, and then getting the siding, the interior walls up so this little cabin comes together. Looks like we're at 77 inches, which is going to be perfect. So because the studs are 16-inch on center, the plywood should line up right over it to where there's 1/2 a stud for us to screw the plywood onto the stud with. First panel is in. So we're just keeping it in with 4 screws that are countersunk in. Kind of filling this out as we go. We want it to look really clean. We want this to be modular. If we ever need to move a panel, we can easily pop it off and fix something back there, add electrical or plumbing. So we're gonna put the same panel up on the other side. The middle zone is where the wood stove is going with the metal backing. So we're gonna do that one last with scrap plywood because it's covered up by metal. So we'll tackle the mirror panel on the other side, then work on some panels up front just as we get our bearings with this style. Panel 1, meet Woody. Panel 2, meet Woody 2. We've got the test panels up just to see how they work. We want to work out the kinks on the simple cuts before we do more complex cuts. Let's panel up the rest of this cabin. So we got this first set of panels done on the front wall, above and below the window, and then this larger panel. We're pretty happy with how this turned out. The gap in the top panels there is beautiful. Down here, we didn't quite get the gap we're looking for because we didn't have enough room on the stud. So we're going to copy this on the other side, get that done because we know how to do it now. Then we're going to work on the more complex pieces in the corners. We're going to tackle everything above the doorway and then tackle the sides of the front wall. And then we're going to go hunt down Joe and pull him kicking and screaming off of his laptop where he's editing videos so he can help us hold up these ceiling panels. All right, we got the front left and right sides done around the door. We're happy with it. We like the way it looks. This plywood is so light and airy. I don't even know that we're going to stain it. We're definitely not going to paint it. It's got that high-end Scandinavian vibe. We're bringing IKEA to a 200 square foot mini cabin. We're now going to make the measurements for the area above the doorway and get that connected and covered up. We got the 2 panels above the doorway installed. Now we're going to do the last 2 panels in the corners of the front wall, and then the front wall is good to go. Because we don't have a stud in the corner that we can mount the panel on, we're going to have to cut some 3-inch chunks of 2x4 to put up at the top and the bottom to give ourselves a mounting point. So we'll cut those 3-inch 2x4 chunks, get those positioned in and attached. Then we'll measure for the panel and do the same on the other side. And then the front wall will be done. We're officially done with the front wall. All the panels are in. They look pretty good. We're pretty happy with it. A little bit of trim here and there will clean things up, but we like our plywood wall. The plywood looks really high end, and you don't need sheetrock anchors to anchor anything. This improves the structural integrity of the micro cabin. The micro cabin can be relocated, no problem, because there's no sheetrock to crumble if it's moved. So we're pretty happy with the results so far. We're going to keep trucking, get the back wall done, work on the roof or the ceiling, and then the sides.
Hyundai Kona versus Toyota Corolla Cross. Look what Kona has and what Corolla.
We're building a rainwater system to get free water for life. And the only rain for the month is coming in just 2 days. And there's a bit of an issue. We haven't actually built the rainwater system yet. See, our purifier needs pre-cleaned water to work, and our pond water is anything but that.
I think it's going to work, Ben. It's been like 30 minutes, and the sand, everything's still there. We really need rainwater.
So we searched for the most affordable and simple rainwater system. And every search led right to the first flush method. Super affordable, simple, and kind of genius. So before we try and build it before the rain comes, I'll explain how the first flush system operates. So it's raining and your gutters are flowing with water. And you think, I'm going to capture that. So you take some PVC pipe, an IBC tote, and bam, you're collecting rainwater. And you're collecting leaves and bird poop too. Okay, so I'm sure there's some sort of purifier out there to take care of this, except there's not. Leaves are still going to gunk it up, and a purifier cannot keep up with the water volume coming off your roof, so a purifier won't cut it. So the first piece of equipment we're going to want to get is something called a leaf eater, which is basically a mesh over a box, and it's going to capture all your larger debris. But unfortunately, the bird waste and other small stuff is still getting in. Wait a second, we have clean water flowing out now. But we know the leaf eater isn't doing this, so what just happened? Well, when you have a roof covered in leaves and other matter, it's all going to come off when enough rainwater has fallen. So this means you can really just expect a lot of debris in the first few gallons of rainwater. But eventually, all the rainwater coming off your roof will be much cleaner. So the question is, how do we divert the first few gallons of rainwater, but then start collecting it once it's more clean? Well, the answer is the first flush system. Now that we've cleaned up the area, we'll set out all the gutter pieces parallel to the micro cabin and go ahead and put it all together to get an idea of what it should look like once it's actually installed onto the micro cabin.
This is the left end cap. We've got a left and a right to keep the rainwater from going off the sides of our gutters. We simply pop this on the end of the gutter, then we crimp it to make sure it doesn't move out of place, and then we caulk it to keep the water from leaking out of the edges. That's all there is to it. This is a 5-inch gutter seam. This is how we connect 2 segments of 10-foot gutter together. This goes on the outside, both pieces of gutter slide in, and then we use epoxy to tighten it all up and keep it glued so water doesn't leak out. This is the downspout connector. So this downspout connector is at the very end of our gutter setup. The gutters are all going to be slightly tilted towards this so that all the water is funneled through here. This will then pipe the water down into a flexible pipe, which goes to the first flush diverter and then the actual rainwater storage tanks. This is our universal strainer. This is temporary before we put in a better rain guard and leaf guard on top of the gutter. This keeps leaves from clogging up the downspout. These are the clip mounts that pop inside of the gutter. Then there's a screw that anchors the gutter onto the fascia board on the side of the micro cabin. And we're actually going to be aiming to line these up where there is a rafter on the roof for a deeper anchor. We're going to measure along the gutter to evenly space these out. We want to make sure that we've got a clip at the edge of every piece of gutter for the maximum support so that the gutters don't sag on the end. Rather than epoxy the gutter seams on the ground, where it would be one 20-foot segment of awkward, unwieldy gutter, we're going to put both 10-foot segments in position and screw them into the fascia board, then come back with the gutter seam with epoxy to have a nice clean fit. Let that dry, and then the gutter is mounted. Ben's going to hold the middle of the first segment of gutter while I mount the first screw into this far corner. That's going to be the highest point of the gutter. It's going to be just underneath the drip line. Then we're going to have a 1/2 inch drop, so the gutter drops 1/2 inch towards the middle of the micro cabin to let the water flow towards the downspout. Before we put up the second segment of 10-foot gutter, we're going to go ahead and epoxy this seam and put that up on the existing gutter panel before sliding the second one into position, because then we wouldn't have the room to maneuver this into place. Now that we've got both pieces up here, I'm going to use this epoxy to do a thin bead over the gap. So we're going to epoxy the last seam under this second segment of 10-foot gutter. Then we're going to attach the end downspout, epoxy that, screw it in, and we've pretty much got the first step all done. All right, now we're going to connect the first flush diverter to the gutter system, now that the gutter system is attached to the micro cabin. We do this in 3 stages. First, we install the gutter system and take all those measurements to make sure the gutter system is properly attached and measured. Then we can take measurements for the pipes that go down on the micro cabin's back to be able to connect to the first flush diverter. And we measure out all those pieces of pipe and get that all set up. The third and final step is measuring the piping we need from the first flush diverter to the actual IBC tanks. There's a lot of measuring that requires first pieces to be installed. That's why we take these measurements and buy these pieces in 3 stages to make sure we do it properly so the whole system fits together.
So before we build it, here's an explanation of how the first flush filter works. Once your leaf eater has caught all the bigger debris, the water with the smaller debris falls into the pipe below, where there's a plastic ball that rises with the water level, eventually hits a ring inside which seals off the bottom pipe, so fresh water now goes out the side. So now the question is, how much rainwater do we need to seal off in the bottom pipe before it becomes clean? Well, let's do a few measurements. If we take the square footage of our roof, which is 10 feet by 20 feet, or 3 meters by 6 meters, it's 200 square feet or 18 square meters. Since rainfall is usually calculated in inches or centimeters, let's convert these numbers. So our roof space is 28,800 square inches or 180,000 square centimeters. And according to various online sites, you need about 0.025 inches or 0.063 centimeters of rainwater to wash off your tin roof. So now if we take the area of our roof and multiply it by the height of water needed, we see that it'll take 700 inches cubed or 10,800 centimeters cubed of water to rinse off our roof. And that's equal to 3 gallons or 10 liters of water. So now we know we need to at least have 3 gallons or 10 liters of water in the pipe before the ball seals it up. So we need the exact amount of pipe to hold the 3 gallons or 10 liters of water. We're using 3-inch pipe, and after using an online tool, 3 gallons of water is equal to about 8 feet of 3-inch pipe. 8 feet of vertical pipe won't work. It's going to go into the ground. So we cut it in half to make this L shape. These extra pieces to make the L shape added more volume. So we only need about 6 to 6.5 feet of pipe now.
Now that we've got everything laid out for the first flush diverter and the PVC pipes to the tanks, we're going to mount this leaf eater to filter out the leaves on the side of the micro cabin. Now that we've got the leaf eater mounted on the micro cabin, we're going to cut about a 6-inch chunk of PVC to connect the leaf eater to our 3-way PVC joint. We're going to insert this wire mesh, which will just be a friction fit. This keeps the green ball from going into the horizontal component of the first flush diverter. We don't want that green ball getting trapped. To anchor the pipe securely, it's important that you find a stud underneath of the exterior shell. Simply look for screws or nail heads that are on the outside under the paint. That's where your stud most likely is.
The first flush converter needs a drip cap on the end. This way the 3 gallons of dirty water we sealed up have a way to leak out before the next rain. If it's more than a drip, all the water is going to flow out, making it where you can't seal off the first flush with the plastic ball. Now I'll connect some tubing to send all the water from the gutters to the leaf eater. Now it's time to put our IBC tote into place. The great thing is you can put as many IBC totes in a row as you want and just connect it with a piece of pipe on the bottom. For our needs, we only need one.
We're literally wrapping up the last part of this and the rain is starting to come down. Not a moment too soon to wrap up this project.
We'll now measure for the last piece of pipe that runs from the wall of the micro cabin into the IBC tote.
Water is always going to find the path of least resistance. Since we have not cemented any of these joints together, we're really trying to make sure there's always a downhill slope. Our theory, at least, is that as long as the slopes are downhill, the water is going to follow that path of least resistance. Whereas if there's an accidental uphill slope, this joint would leak. We're going to find out. Now we're going to put a cover on the IBC tank to prevent unwanted algae growth. If sunlight hits the water, algae will grow in here faster, and we want to avoid that.
We'll then put a piece of overflow pipe going over the side of the IBC tote with a filter to make sure nothing can crawl up inside of it. Now that it's complete, all the rainwater coming in tomorrow during the big storm can now be used for drinking water, as our purifier can handle it compared to the pond water. After wrapping up our rainwater collection system, it was time to move on to the stove, which had finally arrived, and this happened.
Uh-oh.
But before we show the misfortunate event that happened, we're going to show you all the first step that you need to do before installing a wood stove.
Before we can unpack the stove that I'm sitting on top of, we've got to put these 1x4s up on the studs to hold the metal tin roof sheeting. The tin roof sheeting is the metal backsplash to help radiate heat and just provide a clean surface behind the actual stove. After we get up the metal backsplash, we're unpacking this thing.
Having metal as a backsplash for the tiny wood stove keeps things safer, it helps radiate the heat out more in your shelter, and it just looks cool aesthetically.
The floor to ceiling height of the back wall is 77 inches. So we're going to use these tin snips to cut down the 8-foot long tin sheets to 77 inches to start paneling the back. All right, with the first panel cut, we're going to mount the first tin roofing panel as the backsplash behind where the wood stove's going to go. We're going to get that one centered. Then we're going to cut the other panels down to size, get them up there as well. We're going to make sure that the middle panel is actually the one that's overlapping the other panels so we can easily pull it off to cut out the area where the wood stove pipe will be leaving the micro cabin.
In total, it took Kimball and Ben about an hour and a half to install the backsplash for the micro wood stove. Once they wrapped it up, it was time to move on to installing the stove.
Uh-oh. I see broken glass. The stove looked like it was packaged really, really well. There's broken glass around the bottom. It looks like this might have been broken during transit. So we're going to finish unpacking it to see, I mean, something's obviously broken, but hopefully it's a piece we can easily replace. Okay, that's good. We can easily replace this on our end. We just need the last piece.
So we found out one of the metal pieces that was packaged on the inside of the stove must have been pressed up against the glass, and that's what made it break. Then this happened to our backup heater. It happened. We lost it. Power's out. It's going to take us a while to charge back up the battery, which means we're out of heat for quite some time. It's cold. 4 cold days later, good news came.
Tiny Wood Stove team, thank you. They sent a replacement glass panel within 4 days. So huge shout out to Tiny Wood Stove team. We're thrilled to have a new glass panel so we can get this build underway.
But unfortunately, the biggest issue was yet to come.
To make the wooden stand for the stove, we're using this plywood that we had left over from the interior of the cabin. We're going to cut a top 23 by 23 inches. We're going to cut sides that are 19.5 inches, cut a base, and then work on assembling that box or stand for the wood stove. We want the box to be very sturdy because the wood stove is not light. It's very heavy, so we need some good supports with plywood struts in the middle of the box to make sure it doesn't sag. We're also going to top the box with either tiles or tin just to keep embers that might pop out of the front of the stove from burning the top of the box. It'll just improve safety and make the aesthetic look really good as well. Now that the mounting box and the stand for the stove are completed, we're going to assemble the stove and then put it on top of the box. That's the easy part. Then we've got to figure out how all the flue pieces work.
For the last 3 hours, the wood stove has been going through its first burn outside. This is an important step as it seals and sets the manufacturing paint.
Time to look muscular.
With the first burn being done, it's now time to build. So here's a breakdown of how this is going to work. Most people send the flue component straight up through the roof. This is what the tiny stove team recommends. But we didn't want to cause permanent damage to our roof by cutting a hole in it. We thought the wall would be more forgiving. And we ended up being totally wrong. We made this far more complicated than it needed to be. If you ever do this, don't do what we did. Go right through the roof like the tiny wood stove team recommends. You're going to see just how complicated it got for us. We thought it'd be an easy process. First, we'd make a hole in the wall. We'll have to cut a hole in the tin, push the insulation apart, and finally drill out a hole in the wood. Then we could insert a piece called the thimble, which outlines the inner part of the hole with metal. This ensures that the hot metal pipes never come into contact with the insulation, the wood, or the tin. We then add the T-joint on the outside, which will redirect the smoke upwards towards the chimney, and it'll give us an access point we can unscrew in case we ever need to clean anything out. We'll add in the supports, put on the couplings to seal everything up, then we'll connect the stove pipes to the double insulated pipes, and then we're good to go. Or at least we thought.
This is an adjustable component in the flue, which helps us adjust this to wherever the hole is. So rather than cutting the hole with this set all the way down or pulled all the way up, where it won't give us wiggle room going any higher or any lower, we're going to try to have it somewhere in the middle so our hole could be adjusted if need be using these flue components. This is an insulated pipe. You can see it's got this insulation material to keep the outside from getting nearly as hot as the single wall uninsulated pipe. So double wall insulated pipe, single wall non-insulated pipe. Thimble is going to be mounted roughly here.
Kimball, can we just trace it?
Huh?
Can we just trace it with one of these?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. Okay,
This is a pretty cool bit. This is for creating different diameter holes in sheet metal. I like it because it looks like the front part of the machine of the Underminer.
Oh, in the Incredibles?
Cue Incredibles clip. I am the Underminer! Move the insulation apart because we don't want the insulation poking into any part of the thimble. And we're going to need to mark the center of this and drill a hole so we know where to cut on the outside.
With the whole
This part of the process was fun. I ain't even gonna lie. Like y'all gotta think, when you don't have any experience, a lot of this stuff could be intimidating. You know what I'm saying? And you tend to question yourself a lot. Like, can I do this? You know what I'm saying? So when it came to the wood burning stove and me installing that, I ain't gonna lie, like I was just like, bro, how am I about to do this? I never did this before. You know what I'm saying? So like watching some of the videos, it look difficult to do. So I was trying to decide whether I want to run the pipe straight through the roof or throughout the wall of the house. And I figured that it would be easier for me to run it outside the house, because with us having that metal roof or whatever, you know what I'm saying, you got to cut. It's a certain way you got to cut it, and you got to like do a bunch of stuff. And they say it's easier for the pipe. It's better to have the pipe going straight up as opposed to going outside the house because of the draft. But I don't know, man. When I did it, it was fun. I was just like, oh, it ain't bad. And that's how it was with the whole building process. I'm just like, bro, this ain't as hard as I thought it was going to be. You just really got to pay attention to detail. You got to pay attention to what you're doing. You feel me? Because you can easily make mistakes, and you're going to make mistakes. But, it's just a lot of paying attention to detail for real. Just taking your time, measuring everything, making sure you got all the right materials and all of that. But it's fun. Like this part right here, I thought was like one of the most fun parts in the process. Hold on.
hole being cut, we then marked up the thimble and cut it to size. It took some serious finagling work to make this fit, but in the end, it ended up looking really good. But our confidence would soon be shattered.
Imagine this piece here, this double-walled insulated pipe, coming out of the thimble in the wall. This piece is the first piece connecting to the adapter, connecting to the stove flue. This then connects to this T. This T connects to this lower clean out port where you can clean out any built up creosote or other material inside the flue. This is a stabilizer that supports the entire apparatus attached to the back of the micro cabin. The T is then connected with a double wall clamp onto this longer part of the flue. And then we've got the rain and weather guard at the top that prevents snow and rain from coming in. Finally, we've got this other support to hold this long part of the flue or chimney.
When we got to making the supports, we realized there was going to be an issue, and the only way to fix it was to get some additional 2x4 and install it. The support system needs to be anchored into the studs in the wall, but it's too narrow. But by connecting the horizontal 2x4s to the studs, we now had an area thick enough to drill the support beam into. Once we wrapped up our T-joint area, we finally noticed our big issue.
All right, we're figuring out the wood stove configuration. Tiny wood stoves have phenomenal kits. We've been thrilled with the performance of all of the flue pipes, the double wall clamps, all the fittings. The issue has been our rainwater catchment gutter. Our rainwater catchment gutter has protruded farther than we anticipated, so it means we need a longer flue pipe running horizontally. That's an issue for wood stoves. The horizontal run should not be longer than the vertical component going straight up after the horizontal run. You need that to make sure that the draft is flowing upwards. There's lower pressure up top with the hot gases running out of the flue to draw smoke out of your home. If smoke and the other gases build up in your home, it can be a fatal accident. It can actually kill you. So getting the draft working properly in a wood stove is critical. Otherwise, it's a massive safety hazard. The 20-inch piece of horizontal run isn't long enough. We're going to try to use a longer piece of horizontal run and then just test the stove to see how the draft performs. If you can avoid a wall exit mount, do it. There's a reason the tiny wood stove team tells you, try to go through the roof and avoid long horizontal runs.
So we ended up having to redo a few things and take out the 20-inch horizontal pipe and replace it with the 40-inch. Now we cleared the gutter system, but it also pushed it inside more, which made the inside look a little wonky.
This is it, ladies and gentlemen. The moment has come. We're about to find out if this will draft well. Because of the extra horizontal bit that we have right now, we're not sure. But if this drafts, it means it works and everything was installed well.
Now that the chimney was put together, all we had to do was put on the flue stabilizer brackets, connect the inside piping to the stove, and then fire it up. With it up and running, it was now time to see if smoke was coming out of the top, to see if this was successful. And to our relief, there it was. We now have free heat for this winter and all the winters to come. If you want to learn more about the affordable and sustainable systems we use, you can now get our first off-grid book ever. It goes over the 50 key steps and systems you need to go off-grid. You can get an ebook, a paperback, a hardback, or an audio version.
Check out these deals of the week at Walgreens. Save on essentials and more only at Walgreens.
Hi, I'm Alessandra, and I'm...
You ready?
Yep.
You're like 9 feet tall. Can we swap spots?
Well, I am taller than you in real life, so this really just sends that home. Okay, fine. Fine, you can have the tall ground.
Oh, I'm just kidding. I don't want our viewers thinking I'm that guy. We're installing solar panels today. 10 years ago, my wife and I tried going off-grid in a tiny house, and we did not have all the skills, knowledge, and tools we have today. If we had had a killer solar panel system like this, we would have made it in that tiny house. But we didn't have the knowledge, the skills, the contacts, or the tools. So we were smoked out of that hot tiny house during a Georgia summer after 5 nights.
Tell them the best part, my favorite part.
That we didn't have air conditioning for 5 nights in a Georgia summer?
No, about the fridge.
Oh, we used a cooler that was not powered with ice that would melt after like an hour or two for the fridge. It was dismal.
And it was
was like The Walking Dead out there, because we had all the theory about how to live off grid. We didn't have any of the hands-on experience that we have now. So start small, tackle little steps one at a time, and get you some solar panels. Behind me, I've got 8 350-watt solar panels for a total wattage of 2,800 watts of solar power collected and then sent back to the micro cabin for our consumption. Solar panels have come such a long...
Now I just did a video on this the other day, but mine wasn't as detailed as this is going to be. He explained it like perfectly, you know what I'm saying? He talks about AC, DC, charge control, and all that stuff that I really didn't mention in my video. They're gonna mention it right here.
long way in the last few decades, and the prices have just dropped, which is phenomenal for off-grid living. You could honestly live pretty comfortably in a super small off-grid setup with 1 or 2 of these panels.
We got a slightly bigger solar kit since we'll be using it for more things outside of the tiny micro cabin. But for 1 to 2 people, a $3,000 to $4,000 kit will work just fine.
With all 8 of these panels, we can power air conditioning, a small refrigerator, lights, computers, cell phones, even Ben's Xbox. You can typically estimate, at least here in 2023, that for every watt of power, the panel will cost about $1. So a 350 watt panel will cost about $350. With my loafers and this sweater, I felt a little bit like an off-grid Mr. Rogers today.
I like that.
Could that be our vibe?
That's our
Off-grid
vibe.
Mr. Rogers?
That's our new vibe. Off-grid Mr. Rogers.
Will you be my off-grid friend? Is that what he says?
I don't know, but
Okay.
that probably shouldn't be our slogan.
Okay, that's fair. So these are MC4 connectors. These are the connectors to connect solar panels together.
The way I remember that is M for mom. I love my mom. And then C4 is one of my favorite things to use in one of my favorite games, Call of Duty. So when I look at these, I'm like, I love my mom, and I like C4 from Call of Duty. MC4.
All right, so Joe's connecting that last juncture there. These 4 are now in line. We're gonna leave this last one unconnected because those need extension cables going to the combiner box.
Yes. I just want to point out, as someone who has never done anything with solar before, this has been extremely simple so far. We're literally just plugging them together.
Plug and play.
If the rest of this setup is just as streamlined, then solar is far less complicated than I thought.
So I've got a female connector and a male connector. We're connecting this group of 4 panels, which total is 1,400 watts of power. And 1,400 watts of power, that's a lot of power to work with. We've got double that here, 2,800 watts. The average US family uses about 30 kilowatts of power per day, give or take. So a kilowatt is 1,000 watts. So we've got 2.8 kilowatts of power being gathered here. So during 1 hour of full sunlight, you can collect 2.8 kilowatts of power. MC4 solar panel connector. And see these little prongs? These lock this in together so they don't pull apart. You don't want to lose power because, a fox tripped and disconnected your solar panel system. There are 2 types of solar panels. Monocrystalline panels, which are very efficient, made from 1 crystal of silicon. Let's say silicon. They don't call it Silicon Valley, do they?
No, they don't.
Right. Monocrystalline panels are more efficient because they're made from 1 crystal of silicon, but they're more expensive. Polycrystalline panels are made of many crystals of silicon, so they're more affordable. But typically, solar panels are going to range from $1 to $2 per watt of power. So our 400 watt panel over there, it costs about $400. This is the combiner box. So this box is going to be positioned near the solar panels outdoors. These 2 groupings of panels will plug into these MC4 connectors at the bottom of the combiner box. This awesome giant red switch, which looks like something from like Star Wars or some epic movie, this turns on and off the power that goes to the micro cabin. This combiner box takes the power from both groups of solar panels and then combines it into both of these wires. So all the power is being directed into just these 2 cables. So we've got our positive and negative here, and then we've got these lugs on the end, which will bolt on to the power board, where the power is then stored in the batteries and then converted into 120 volt AC power. Because the power from these solar panels is DC, direct current. It's just a steady flow. AC, 120 volt AC is what we're used to in our homes. AC current switches back and forth, back and forth, back and forth in polarity because it helps the power move along the power lines more efficiently. So this is going to be DC power going to the power board. This combiner box takes all the power from the panels, simplifies it, aggregates it, combines it, if you will, into just these 2 cables. We're going to drill a hole in the floor of the micro cabin, run these up, and then we'll use extension cables to plug the combiner box into these solar panel groupings. All right, Joe, are you ready?
I guess we are.
I guess we are. I'm gonna run these over to the base of the tiny home, the micro cabin. It's not a tiny home, it's a micro cabin.
Whatever we call this.
It's a micro cabin. All right, so we'll drill a hole back there in a moment. But for now, let's go ahead and connect up this extension cables. Red is positive, black is negative or neutral, if you will. Gotta match up the colors. All right, click. And then I'm just plugging in the number 1 position for both the positive and the neutral. Click, click. All right, we'll run these out. Okay. Sometimes the cables can be a little tricky to get together, and you need to get like a little needle nose plier just to kind of help jiggle the lead.
We need to jiggle it.
Yeah, we need to jiggle it. This is just something I've noticed in the manufacturing process. Sometimes that little metal pole down there, that contact can be a little off center. So I just get some needle nose pliers and I'll just gently bend it down a little. Happy little contact there. Happy little contact.
Are we the Bob Ross of off-grid now?
The Bob Ross meets the Mr. Rogers. I think that's a really great spot for us to be.
I'll be Bob Ross. You can be Mr. Rogers.
There it is. Click. Okay, that's connected. Now let's connect up some more happy little contacts. Got my extension cables over here, positive and negative. Positive male connector here, and then the female neutral connector. We'll take this down to the second group of our panels. It is so satisfying snapping all these MC4 connectors together. That grouping of 4 panels is running into the combiner box. That grouping of 4 panels is also running into the combiner box. This is the awesome switch. Even though it's not going to do anything, we can switch it. That means power is now running to those 2 contacts, those 2 lugs. Let's go drill a hole in the micro cabin to pull those in and connect them to the power board. We're about to drill a hole into the floor, which is always a little nerve-wracking, to allow the cables from the combiner box to come inside. So I've got a multi-diameter drill bit here, my underminer bit. We're going to use that just to size the hole for the cables to come in, and then we'll caulk that up later. We've got all the solar panels set up outside. So technically, now that the cables are run in the micro cabin through the hole, we're collecting solar power. We're just not storing it, and it's not in a form that we can really use right now. So we're getting about 150 volts of solar power, DC, direct current from the panels. Your home and your appliances typically use AC, 120 volt power. So we need to store this power and convert it to power that we can actually use for our computers, our lights, our fans, our AC unit. That's what all this behind me is for. Continuous Resources made all this plug and play. This is the battery box. These are our 2 big lithium ion batteries. Both of these batteries generate about 51, 52 volts with 100 amp hour capacity. So these are the beefy batteries that store all the electricity that's collected from the solar panels. But to do that properly, they need help from the power board. This power board is just a big piece of plywood that's got a black coating on it. All the solar gadgets, if you will, are bolted on and wired together really tidily by Continuous Resources. That's what they do. Continuous Resources make solar panel kits to make solar installs easier for novices like us, whether it's an RV or a big off-grid cabin. The power board has an inverter to convert the 50 volt, roughly 50 volt current from the batteries that's DC to 120 volt AC current that's going to go to the breaker box to then go to our outlets and lights. Beyond the inverter, we've got a charge controller so we don't overcharge the batteries. We've also got DC output if we want to run 12 volt power. And we even got a digital monitoring panel, which makes it pretty easy to see how the system's performing. There's even a Wi-Fi option to connect this power board to Wi-Fi so that Continuous Resources can diagnose and troubleshoot any issues with the power board and the solar panel setup. We know that some folks might not think that that's particularly off-grid, having your solar panel system connected to Wi-Fi, but we think it's pretty cool that Continuous Resources can monitor any issues and help us better run our system from abroad. The technical definition of off-grid means you're just not relying on public utilities. So if we've got rainwater or well water, if we're using, instead of mains water, if we're using a small wood stove instead of being connected to a gas line for heating our home, and if we're collecting electricity through solar, then technically we're off-grid, even if we send some data back to make sure the system is running properly, which we think is awesome. All right, so without further ado, we need to be connecting these batteries to the power board. We need to be connecting the solar panel output to the power board. And then the power board is going to be connected up to our breaker box. The power board is the center of the magic of the solar panel system. All right, let's start connecting.
Now we just scoot the battery box over.
Yep. Actually, before we connect the batteries to the bus bars, we're going to connect these battery cables to the power board. So we are going to start with the positive cable right here, red. All right, let's get this tightened up. We need the batteries connected minus to minus, plus to plus. The batteries are switched to off, so there's no current coming out of the batteries. Orange is going on to positive. We'll put the protective caps back on. This is the 6 AWG heavier duty wire that's going to take the alternating current from the power board to the breaker box. We've got 3 wires in there. There's ground, positive, and then neutral. We've got to strip this. Then we've got to strip the wires underneath of it, attach contact lugs, and then use a heat vacuum to put the heat shrink around those lug contacts. So this is not a plug and play part. This is us dipping our toes into basic electrical work, but we're up for the challenge. So when we just have black and white, white's neutral, copper is ground, and this is hot, positive. I use some scissors to cut away the sheathing. They make plenty of wire strippers, but we're doing such a small job, we're just going to use what we have. Then I've got these needle nose pliers. We're going to expose the copper wiring underneath. We're going to get the heat shrink. We'll take one black, one red. As a novice DIY electrician, not a certified or licensed electrician, I'm not going to lie, the colors are a little confusing, but the internet's got plenty of great resources. So we are going to be putting the red heat shrink on the black and the black heat shrink on the white, just because black is hot when white is neutral on this type of wire setup. So then there's the lug. This lug goes on the tip here, and then this lug would go here. So we're going to take this lug, and now we're going to crimp this lug down. This lug might be a little too big for this crimping tool, but we're going to see how well this works. Yeah, I think it is a little undersized. The point is to stick it on there good, and that is on there good. We'll use the heat shrink. We get the hair dryer from the Delta EcoFlow.
The 2 minutes of using this hair dryer on high took 10% from that Delta EcoFlow.
Neutral, positive. And we're going to need to put some green tape on there to mark that it's ground.
All right, so we're all done with that board right there.
Yeah, so the AC power coming out is hooked up. We just need to put a green sticker on the ground wire insulator, and now we can move the battery box into position to test.
Right up to the edge.
Yeah, right up to it, but not past it ideally. Now that we've got these heavy jumper cables connected to the power board, it's time to run them to the batteries and finish the battery setup. But first, when we got our last shipment of cables from Continuous Resources, we got something that I don't think many solar companies would send you. Matt sent us a list of puns to add to our dad joke repertoire. Joe and I both have young children. May I read the puns?
Go for it.
All right. What did the sushi say to the bee? Do you know? You do, because you already read it. What did the sushi say to the bee?
Wasabi!
Nice. What kind of shoes do frogs wear when camping in the summer?
Wait, I think I know this one. Open-toed shoes.
Open-toed shoes.
We read these earlier.
I was just so delighted to find these, though. This is the kind of touch you get. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that you're going to get puns with your solar setup like we did. Thank you, Matt. But working with a group that's smaller, like Continuous Resources, in my opinion and experience, is always hands down better than working with some massive company where you got to open, 5 or 6 support tickets before hearing from somebody and whatnot.
Yeah.
Final pun. What do you call an angry carrot? A steamed vegetable. All right, so pun's red. Let's get these batteries connected.
I feel my dad level increase.
Woo! Okay, so these are off. We have no current coming out of the batteries. We need to connect these jumpers from the power board to the actual lithium-ion batteries. All right, so this is negative. We'll put the protective cap back on to prevent unnecessary shocks. Now for the positive jumper, these jumpers are very satisfying to work with. Feel very heavy duty. These are securely attached. Now we've got to configure the batteries. Now we're going to connect.
My bad, y'all. I was doing something. But I read your comment, sis Angie. You said, woo, a bit complicated there. So that's why I showed y'all what I showed y'all in my video when I was talking about solar. See, this setup that they got going on, it's just too much going on. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. It's just too much going on. But the one that I got, you get the inverter, you know what I'm saying? You get the battery, you connect those two, and then you get the solar panels, and boom. See, now what they doing, they got cut off switches and all these wires, and I mean, it's a cool setup, but I feel like for a beginner, you need something just straight plug and play. You know what I'm saying? Something less complicated, but yeah.
The communication cable, the Ethernet cable between the batteries. This is battery number 2 down here. So we're going to connect it in the far right port. We're going to connect this in the middle port. Now we need to connect the longer Ethernet cable to the servo communication display on the power board. So we'll connect this here to the CAN port. And then I need to pull this little punch out. These punches are pretty cool. You just twist them and then they'll break out for you to run cables through. We'll run this outside of this. And then the servo, it's actually just right here. We'll clean up these cables later. We just want to test it all and make sure that it's all going to work smooth first. There we go. So we've got servo, Ethernet, batteries are connected, power wall's connected. We need to configure the batteries. This battery.
I learned from YouTube. I did hella research. I'm talking, shoot, before I bought the inverter, I can't tell you how many videos I watched, because it was kind of like, when you look at all this stuff, it's so many different options. You know what I'm saying? And you would be sitting there having a hard time trying to figure out exactly what system to go with. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I seen a lot of people who lived off grid, who had inverters and batteries and everything like that. Just looked at a lot of reviews, saw their setup and how they went about doing it, and I just made my decision based off that, honestly. But yeah, I learned everything I know. I'm telling you, I learned from YouTube, and I have books too, especially like framing, like wood framing, books. I got electrical books. I got books. I just bought a book recently on plumbing, because that's another project that I have. I think when I first showed y'all the off-grid video, the setup I had then with my faucet is I would have a bucket of water, then I have an empty bucket, and basically I would be pulling the water out of that bucket to wash the dishes, and the dirty water will fall into the empty bucket, and we would always have to, like, you know, take that outside. But now I got it set up to where, same way like in your house, in our houses right now, where you just turn the faucet on, water comes out, it's the same way, and then it drains. I gotta complete the drainage, you know, hooking up all the pipes from the house to the outside for that gray water to you know what I'm saying, to go outside or whatever. So that's a project that I'm currently working on right now. And yeah, just learning everything from YouTube.
Here's number 1. So we're going to switch dip switch 1 up. This battery down here is number 2. So we're going to switch number 2 up. I'm going to use something pointy like the scissors. Make sure none of the other switches are up. This is how the batteries monitor themselves with the servo system. Okie dokie. Let's test the batteries. Let's make sure these boot up. Green is always a good sign. We got the run sign blinking. They're fully charged. This ALM is the alarm. That's a warning label, warning light. Don't have those on. That's good. Let's go ahead and just put the cover back on these. It's going to be a satisfying moment. This cover's got a magnetic click, so this whole thing will just click right on. Nice. Okay. So we can see the batteries in there. It's got a little dust on there. We'll have to dust that off. All right. Let's go turn on the big switch for the solar panels. Pull the lever, Kronk!
Impersonate groove? Anybody? Anybody? Oh,
That was rough.
look, if I was funny, I'd be on a stage being a comedian like Kevin Hart. I'm not funny though.
It's okay. We'll stick with our dad jokes. Wasabi.
Nice. Let's see. Let's just run some tests here on the voltage coming out. This is the servo panel. We've got roughly 200 watts of power coming in from the photovoltaic panels. Batteries are charged at 100. Now we just need to get the inverter running and test that we've got power coming out of there. All right, so batteries are good. We're gonna flip the switch on the bottom of the inverter panel. The batteries are on, power is coming from the panels. You can see the servo is blinking. We've got a heads-up display on the AC power, the wattage coming in from the panels, and those are not properly angled at the sun yet, but we will get them there. Batteries were pre-charged at 100. This is a handy little tool for testing for 120 volt AC current. So we're gonna turn this pin on, and if we come test here, red means we're getting AC power. So we've got 120 volt alternating current in this cable here. This is the cable we're going to connect up to the breaker box and then run smaller cables to the various outlets. For the final wiring to the breaker box and to the outlets, we're going to turn off the panels, turn off the batteries, turn off the inverter, shut the whole system down to be extra safe. With the panels in place, the power board hooked up, the batteries functioning properly, and now the whole system shut down for safety, we're going to finish wiring up the breaker box. We're running the cable from the power board into the breaker box, drilling through the studs, clamping down the positive and the negative and the ground wires from the cable from the power board. We're drilling through the studs to take wire to both of the outlets, and then we're installing the breakers, running the ground wire from the breaker box to the grounding rod. So with the grounding rod connected to the breaker box connected to the power board, and the breaker box connected to the 120 volt outlets. The final step we'll be taking is cutting gaps in our interior siding to expose the outlets and then expose the breaker box so we can access the outlets and breaker box. And then we're going to run the final test to make sure we can power appliances. It's a grounding wire connected in. We're only going to make this right side hot. We don't have a jumper yet, so we're not going to add a jumper. Just going to make this right side hot. Positive or hot, neutral, and then ground.
That's straightforward. So the wire comes to the top, and then positive goes positive, neutral to neutral, ground to ground. And you just slide the breakers in and connect up to the outlets, and we're good to go.
White on silver, brass on black, and then that is the grounding one. This is our first outlet ever. We learned how we're going to improve the next one. We need the outlet box to be further up, because right now you can see this faceplate's bending a little bit. We're going to have to go back and bring this whole thing out a little bit. The cut we made works. We also learned the finish would look better if we just cut the rectangle out and left the edge if possible. We're going to try that on the other side. None of our projects are ever perfect. We're living and learning and figuring it out. We'll dress this up with a smaller piece, pull this farther back. So this first run gave us some insight on how to make the second outlet better. Man, I wish we did that on the other one. Okay, the wall panels are cut, the outlets are in. We're going to run a few more tests to make sure we're getting current. We're going to test the breakers. Then we're going to finish propping up the solar panels, getting the grounding rod and the grounding line all installed. This test is kind of dumb because we're going to use sunlight captured by solar panels stored in the batteries to generate 120 volt AC power to make more light. This is how we're testing the solar's working. Saving light to then generate more light. Our final step is going to be running the grounding wire out from the breaker box
outside through the ingress egress port on the micro cabin to the grounding rod that we've got hammered into the ground. So we're going to clip the tip of this off, get this bolted into the grounding bus bar, and then run this out the micro cabin. So we've got the grounding line coming out of the micro cabin. We're driving this grounding rod deep into this red Georgia clay. Then we've got a bolt to bolt on the grounding wire to the grounding rod, just as a safety precaution for any type of surge to follow the path of least resistance back to ground if there's a short anywhere in our electrical system. Often these grounding rods are fully buried. We're leaving this one exposed just to show you all how the bolt clips the grounding wire onto the grounding rod outside the micro cabin. We picked up some free pallets just as a temporary racking system for the solar panels. We want to angle the solar panels roughly 30 degrees. Our latitude here in Georgia is about 33 degrees. So roughly 30 degrees is going to give the solar panels maximum sunlight. You want your solar panels to be perpendicular to the sunlight coming in. That way you're able to capture as much solar energy as possible. These panels will live on a roof long term. It's going to be just a tin roof covered area on the final off-grid micro cabin location. But for now, we're just going to angle these pallets up about 30 degrees using some 2x4s. That way they'll perform better while we're testing the whole solar panel rig setup. The pallet solar panel mounts are not gorgeous. They're not going to win any beauty contests, but they're functional and they were basically free to test the system out, make sure we got it all figured out before the panels go up on the roof. All right, we finished out the micro cabin. We installed the breaker box. We installed two 120 volt AC outlets for appliances. We ran all the wiring within the walls. We've got metal panels insulating on top of the doors that swing open for the micro cabin. We've got the futon set up in the corner. We've got a pretty little mirror hanging on the wall. We've got 3 plywood tables. We've got our kitchen table. We've got our little movable dining room table that's set low where you just sit cross-legged to eat at. And then we've got the office or desk table behind me with the laptop on it. We've got 3 different lamps positioned throughout the micro cabin. We've got our GoSun solar oven stored in here to be able to just pop outside on the deck to cook food with. We've got our 12 volt GoSun cooler, which is basically our refrigerator. That's under the kitchen table. And then we've got these Big Joe, that's actually the brand name. We've got these Big Joe bean bags in the corner just as a casual, simple way of, kicking back for a minute. We've also got 2 bar stools that we can just move around as needed. One of our plywood tables is in the electrical corner with the breaker box and the solar panel power board from Continuous Resources. We also have a small trash bin we brought in. We've got our wood stove, wood supplies behind the wood stove here. We've got big jugs of water that we can fill up from the rainwater tank. We've run the water line from the IBC rainwater collection tank inside the micro cabin. And we've got a simple little nozzle to be able to dispense water into our water purifier or our bigger water cooler to be able to store more water for washing hands or any other needs you might have. So we do have running water now, even though it's a simple setup here in the micro cabin. We've got a pretty little kettle to be able to brew tea in and 1 mug. We'll bring in more plates and whatnot over time. We've got the dehumidifier just to keep things a little bit more stable in here when it comes to humidity. We also have more wood logs stored along with fire starter underneath of the stove here. Then we've got the power board with the inverter, the charge controller, running power to our battery box here in our corner. We call this the electrical corner, where the desk and office space is. For 2024, our plan is to move all this to the final location, the 7 acres on a river, the final off-grid site. This micro cabin project has been a phenomenal exercise and experiment in what's possible with small living, simple systems, circular systems, and sustainable habits and practices. We really hope you enjoyed this series. Thank you so much for sticking with us. From purchasing the cabin shell, to insulating it, laying the flooring, setting up the walls, installing solar, installing the rainwater collection system, figuring out how we're going to get the wood stove installed here, even building our affordable chicken pallet coop. Thank you for being with us on this Acorn Land Lab journey. From Joe, Ben, and myself, We are so thankful for this audience. We hope that this series has blessed you in some way. We hope you've enjoyed it. And we would like to continue putting out a little bit of content here and there where we can, moving into 2024 and beyond. We've had 2023 to really focus and dig deep on this project. We'll be pursuing some other opportunities and projects come 2024, but all of the materials for Acorn Learning Labs will continue to be online. We hope that you're able to pull something from it, go build something, and enjoy the outdoors and just the process of creating something on your own. Thank you so much. See you next time.
Let's see. Special thanks to our partners. Okay. So I really do hope that y'all enjoyed that. It's a really good video. Really good video. You know, packed with a lot of information, just showing you the possibilities. You know, it's something that I feel everybody can do. Just, you know, hold on, let's see what they say right here. But yeah, you know, it just comes down to how bad you really want it. How bad you really want it. I don't think nothing is impossible. It just takes a lot of work, you know what I'm saying? It takes a lot of dedication, but we can make all this possible, man. Yeah, I will. I'll add it. Let's see. Thank you for the take. Yeah. Hey, no problem. No problem. No problem. And like I told y'all before, you know, one of my goals is to make more videos, more content on off-grid living and like just different projects and stuff like that, showing y'all how to do different things, you know, because we all learning together. You know, I don't know it all. I'm just learning as I go. And I'm gonna share with y'all everything that I learn and I do. But yeah, it's 8:42 my time. So y'all got any questions? Matter of fact, you said put the video in the description. Okay. All right. I guess I have to do that after. All right. Matter of fact, I can do that now. Give me 1 second. One second, y'all. I'm trying to put this in the description. Okay. All right. I got it in now. He said, yes. Thank you, my brother, for the step-by-step process. No problem. I will need to watch several times and take notes. At this point, it's a must. Thank you. But that's not the only video, though. You know what I'm saying? There's other videos that you can watch too, other people with channels. And I think I showed you all let me show you some videos that I'm subscribed to. I mean, not videos, but people's channels that I'm subscribed to that helped me along the way, especially with the design of my build. And all that. So let me share this with y'all real quick. Hold on. Andrew, you said all praise to the Most High. You are truly helping so many. It may not be thousands of followers, but we here. Hey, it's all good. It's all good. I appreciate y'all for, being a part of this. And I know it's not a lot, but hey, for those that's watching, I just thank the Most High, for putting it on y'all spirit to even rock with me like that. And, just even trust in me and give me the opportunity to even, be of a service. You said, how do you build and stay hidden? Well, I don't think anybody would truly be hidden. But it's really depend on your location. But in order for you to be hidden, you would really have to you would have to be one who don't like show your face on the internet. Don't do any videos, showing your land or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna lie though, I don't know. I guess for me, it's not really about being hidden, but more so about being away from large populations. You know what I'm saying? Like where we at, the closest town to us, the population is only like 300 people. I think. I could be wrong. It's either 300 or 3,000. I want to say five. It's either 3 to 500. I got to go back and check, but it's not a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? And even where we at, we probably like have I want to say 4 neighbors, and we're like super spread out. You know what I'm saying? So, that's why I love tree coverage. So when you say hidden, that's something that I think about as well. Like wherever you get land, you want to make sure it's in the location where there's a lot of trees. I know Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, North Carolina, even over this way, Minnesota, um, in Oklahoma, East Texas, Arkansas, Missouri. They have the trees, those real tall trees, pine trees. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, let's see. You said, what do you do for work, if you don't mind me asking? Yeah, I'm a truck driver. Trying to get out of that. Do you have a septic tank system for the toilet area, and is electricity used for it? No, I don't have a septic tank. I got a composting toilet. So I would have to dump all of that, like the waste, but not after every time, maybe every 2 weeks or something like that. But it works really well though, you know what I'm saying? I have to show y'all the whole setup and everything, but yeah, I have a composting toilet. I'm thinking about a septic system though, and if I do get one, it's gonna be one that I do myself. I know how to do it. It's just a matter of, getting all the materials and, seeing how I'm gonna do it. But yeah, for right now, composting toilet. Let's see, for an example, using lights at night brings attention. I guess it would be a total mind flip. As it gets real, more will come. Yeah, that's why at night, like if you're living in the woods, it wouldn't necessarily draw a lot of attention. Now, let's say if you got those floodlights, like solar floodlights or motion sensor lights, outside the house, the motion sensor lights, they only stay on for like 15 seconds. If you get a floodlight, the floodlights stay on the whole, like probably throughout the whole night. Um, so yeah, that's something to think about, you know. And if you're using those type of lights, yeah, it may draw attention from like an aerial view. But if you use like on the inside of the house, that light really wouldn't matter because, you know, 9 times out of 10, you feel me, you're gonna be using lamps. You're gonna be using candles and all of that. So it really wouldn't matter. Being a trucker, are you away from the fam at times? I'm local. My first 2 years, no, my first year I was over the road. My second year I was dedicated, where I was out for like 1 week. And actually, no, I started out being out for 1 week, and then I switched from that. I finessed the company. I told them I was having a baby, but but I did that so that I can be local. So yeah, so I've been local for like 3 years. I've been driving trucks for 4 years. Yeah, so I've been local for 3 years. So, like for an example, tomorrow I got a load going to Lawton, in some other city, but that's only like an hour away, 45 minutes to an hour away. And then once I finish those 2 stops, I'm gonna get off like around, I go in at 4 something. I get off at probably 10. Got the rest of the day to do whatever. So yeah, that's how my days go. Continuous work, something every day. Yep. Sorry, I'm answering a bit for him, but not all truckers are away too long from their family. My husband that knows an intermodal home daily trucker. He goes in at 5 and is home at 3 every day. Yep. Yes, stay growing and enjoying your blessings. You are helping many. Fact. Good to know. Looking for more options to make money for this land. Do you stockpile seeds? Yes, I do. You got a bunch of seeds. And it's really not something that I'm worried about. But Brother Tribe, trucking is a good industry to get into. Yeah, it is, man. Like, listen, I'm gonna tell you this. Whether you have a family or not, getting into trucking, you can make some good money. And if you single, man, you can run it up. You can run it up. I'm telling you, you can make so much money in trucking. It's crazy. Like I told y'all this before, you know, right now I'm comfortable where I'm at, like in trucking. I know I can make more if I wanted to. I think right now I'm making somewhere around 70,000. I want to say 70,000 a year, but I can make well over 100,000 if I really wanted to. But I know the sacrifice I would have to make, and I don't want to go that route. You feel me? Because I'm trying to get out of trucking, to be honest with you. I'm trying to get out, and I'm trying to find other ways to bring in income. You know, that way I can put more work in on the land and really do what I want to do. You know, so that's where I'm at with everything right now. I'm doing trucking until the Most High just, you know, bless me with another opportunity. That's why I was telling y'all last night. Ultimately, what I want to do is just collect these checks from YouTube, my music. You know, if I set up a Patreon, you know, I just really want to be in a position where I can work for you, and not just you, but just like, you know, I have goals of growing food, connecting with other local farmers, and, you know, selling food to the people, and, you know, eggs and baby chicks. I mean, I got a whole business model that I'm creating, and I'm you know, I really want to do that, you know. But y'all got to think, I never did none of this before. Nobody ever taught us none of this stuff, so it's like trying to learn everything. It's a lot. It's a lot, and it's overwhelming. You know what I'm saying? But I don't make excuses, and we doing everything we can, man. We, you know, it's taking it one day at a time, not putting too much thought into it. If it be the will of the Most High, then, you know, that's what it is. If the Most High got other plans, then, you know, it is what it is. Just respect. Big motivation for me anyway. They got programs that would pay you to get your CDLs for trucking. Yeah. Yup. They got schools you can go to for free. The only downside to going to a school that's for free is they want you to drive for them for a year. So they try to, like, you know what I'm saying, get you to sign a contract. That's how my company was. Like, I started out with Maverick Transportation, and it was free to go there, but they wanted you to drive for them for 2 years. That was what was in the contract. But I stopped after a year and I went to something else. But yeah. It's amazing what you have done. I'm nervous, but I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah, you know, I did it for many reasons. Of course, you know, I wanted to just get away from the cities. That was my main thing. The other thing too was, you know, I want my children to grow up the same way I kind of halfway grew up. Like, I grew up in the country. I know what it's like to be out there, you feel me, with the animals, to be out there, just, you know, just that country life. That country, let me tell y'all, man, that country life is fun. It's like, it's always something to do. You know, it's more rewarding. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a better quality of life. So, you know, I remember what it was like growing up in the country. You know, back in Alabama, my uncle, he's 90, almost 100 and something. He still, you know, running the land. You know, he got livestock. I'm gonna actually go down there and get some goats. I'm gonna get some goats and maybe some chicken. I'm gonna see what all he got and see what I can bring back. But yeah, I want my children to grow up, you know, experiencing that life, you know, instead of being on the games all the time, and, you know, just being in the city. And I love the country life. It's peaceful. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's it's everything. It's everything. And then too, you know, with us being like not having no utility bills, no major bills or anything, it just opens up opportunities for us to travel. You know what I'm saying? Like, just really do things as a family. It's just, it takes a lot of the stress off you, man. It's cool. I'm telling you. Now, you do have your challenges. You know, if you go off grid or whatever, you do have your challenges. But like I say, that's with anything, you know. And some of the challenges are, like, for an example, if yo you have an issue with plumbing, Instead of you calling somebody, you got to go out there and figure it out. You know what I'm saying? You can't just pick up the phone and be like, hey, I got a problem with my plumbing, something backed up. You got to go outside, look at the pipe, see where the clog is at, and get it out. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You feel me? And it's like that with everything. You might have a electrical problem. Figure it out. You can't just call somebody and complain and say, man, can y'all come out here and fix this? No, you got to fix it. But again, that's the part that I love, because I don't have to pay nobody to come out and fix something. I can just repair it myself, you know. But it's a lot of pros to it, man. It said if you set up a Patreon, me and Dano will be the first. I appreciate that. It's almost finished. I'm just trying to figure out, because you know on Patreon they got these dogs, man. On Patreon they got different tiers, different categories. So like, you know what I'm saying, you set it up, be like, okay, you pay $1 a month, right? You get this kind of information. You pay $5 a month, you get this kind of information, and you pay this. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to set it up like that. Like, exactly what do I want to put on here? Do I want to create a category where I'm strictly talking about off-grid things? Create another category where I'm strictly talking about like esoteric things and, you know, just spiritual things? Create another tier about health, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm interested in all those things. So, you know, I'm just trying to figure out what it is. And I need to be asking y'all, like, honestly, like, what it is that y'all are interested in. Like, you know what I'm saying? That'll kind of help me out. Because if I did a Patreon, I always said that I want people who truly, who are genuine, like who genuinely rock with me, and people who are willing to learn, you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature. So yeah, if you set up a Patreon, you will eventually, it just takes longer when everything that's glorified at a higher platform is not for the Most High. It's like education and mentoring. If you drive cross country, you do. My auntie was a cross country truck driver, and she be gone for 6 months at the most on the road. Yeah, I remember I was on the road for, I think the longest was like 3 months, but I made a lot of money. Like, the longer you stay out, the more money you will make. You know what I'm saying? But that's the sacrifice if you got a family. Now, if you by yourself, or if you got a significant other and it's just y'all two, man, hey, that's an experience for real. Like, y'all get to see the country, you feel me, on your downtime. Y'all can go out, do what you do, you know, it's cool. You can even do that with your family though, you feel me? If you got, like, you know, if it's just for y'all, you feel me, you can do it that way too. There's families on YouTube who are homeless. But that's not necessarily a bad thing though. It's just they live in the truck and they just drive around the country and, you know, make their money, stack it up. So they would be in the perfect situation to go off grid, or, you know, they wanted to do anything like that. Anyway, Tremaine, what's good, bro? I'm 47. I wonder if I can hang within the truck driving industry. Yes, you can. My auntie is 50, I want to say 57, and she just went to truck driving school last year. So she you know what I'm saying? I be seeing a lot of women in trucking, a lot of older women. Truck company would pay like Swiss. Laugh out loud. Exactly what I did, bro. Avoided that contract, and driver solution still calling. Yup. My cousin got his for free and didn't have to stay with the company, but majority of them want you to start with them for a year. Yup. Adabi, you can 100%. Yeah. They got quite a few female trucker channels on YouTube. I'm a city boy. There's one female. She's a melanated sister, but she has a channel. She's like a millionaire. She started in trucking. I think she got like a lot of trucking businesses and everything like that. She doing her thing. I'm a city boy, but that country living feels so much better. Yeah, and you from Jamaica too. You already know how it is. See, that's a different world right there. That's a different world. You know how it is. I see many women in trucking. They love it. It's not for everyone though. That's true. It's not for everybody, because trucking, depending on what you doing, like if you flatbed, you have to be out in the elements. You feel me? You got to roll up that tarp. You know what I'm saying? You got to roll up that tarp in the snow, and you got to think, man, trucking is one of the most dangerous jobs in America. And it's just the driving, man. Like I can't even tell you. See, when we had that Arctic blast that came through here, man, it was trucks flipped over, jackknifed. I'm talking about crazy. But it be like that though. It be like that. You just gotta watch what you're doing. You gotta watch the people around you. Cause people, man, I don't know how to drive. You say it's that dog? I don't know, sis. I don't know. I can't even tell the dog, the puppy squealing in the back. I don't know, man. I love growing up with farm animals and learning how to make things. Yeah. See, I think my uncle got some milk goats. I want to get some milk goats. And ultimately what I want to do is I want to get milk from him, you know, make cheese and everything. I want to sell that too. You know what I'm saying? You can make a lot of money off goat milk. Telling you, y'all remember when they had that shortage in baby formula? And so all the people who raised goats and had goats, you know, milk goats, they made a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Because they sold their goat milk, and women used the goat milk to feed the babies. But yep, it creates confidence. Yes. And y'all I appreciate that, sis. Yeah, man. If I want to support, that's a cash out. You know what I'm saying? I don't really ask for no money or anything, but you know, if y'all are willing to support, man, that's cool. I like your music when you was doing it. What you mean when I was doing? I still do music. I just don't drop music as much as I used to, but I still do it though. I still do it. I got music that I'm gonna release. I just, you know, just trying to figure out where I want to go with it. You said you're so multi-talented, you will never run out. Nah, I won't. I mean, I got a lot of stuff to talk about. But that's life though. That's why I called on my album's Journey. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the journey, and everybody got a story to tell. And I feel like everybody should tell their stories. You know, we all should, you know, share with each other and you know, grow with each other. That's what it's all about, man. At the end of the day, I don't got no beef with nobody. I want to see everybody do good and do well. You know, I want everybody to be their best selves. You know, I just want everybody to be operating in love, man. You know, for real. Don't spread yourself too thin though with doing the Patreon, trying to provide or be obligated to giving 3 different subjects of content could be very tight. Yeah, you ain't lying about that. You're not lying about that. Because when I do these presentations, it take a lot. It take a lot of reading, a lot of compiling information and trying to put that on the computer, then recording the voice the voiceover. It's a lot. A lot of people don't know what it takes to do all that. You know what I'm saying? You watching the presentation and you've been like, this boring or whatever, but nah, man, it take a lot of work, and I think it's fun. I was the same way in school though. You know, history, I had AP classes in history and English. I loved it. I loved when the teacher was like, I'm gonna give y'all a project. You know what I'm saying? Y'all get in the groups and yada yada yada. I used to love that. So I'm the same way. Never changed. I love doing that type of stuff. Fast, keep it up. Yo, I like that thinking about moving to the country, North Carolina. I'm from Richmond, Virginia, though. You're a wise man, not respect. I like what you're talking about. Now, I appreciate that. You know, I'm just a vessel though. You know, the Most High get all the glory. Don't matter how long it takes you to accomplish a goal, just do it. Yup. For taking it down. Love you guys. Pieces. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm on here now, bro, dropping this fuel. I'm out here now dropping this fuel. Okay. Yeah, I'm about to lay it down myself in a minute. I got to get up early. We need some bangers. I got some bangers for you. About to bump these albums after this. Yeah, I got some bangers for you, man. I got some music on the way. As always. I told y'all that ain't gonna never stop. Got some my wife. She got some music on the way as well. She working on the album. So you know, we putting in work. We putting in work. Everybody putting in work. You know, taking a little time. You know, some time or whatever, because we really just trying to perfect all of this stuff, and we trying to figure something out. Because me and my wife, going back to, you know, talking about like the money situation, you know what I'm saying? Like, we ultimately want to bring in income off our talents, you know, and what we can do for the people and stuff. So we just, you know, we taking it one day at a time. We praying to the Most High. We doing what we doing behind the scenes. And I feel like everything's gonna work out. Everything's gonna work. We got people doubting us. You know, we got people, you know, hoping that we don't succeed and everything. You know how it go. But you know, just trying to, and even with this YouTube, just trying to be more consistent. That's why I've been going live. That's why I've been dropping videos like just consistently, because that's one thing that I wanted to do. Just keep being consistent. Keep, you know, because that's how the money's gonna come in. Like, y'all not paying me anything, but by watching the videos, you feel me, the ads are what's paying, you know. The longer the videos, the more ads. It's kind of sort of like TV. You watching the show, every commercial, you know what I'm saying? That's what's paying. So you know, it's free to watch, but it costs to produce. That makes sense. Thanks for the back-to-back broadcast. May the Most High bless you in your household. Please feed them dogs. I'm gonna talk to their owners. I will talk to their owners when I get off here. That's beautiful. Okay, then to the wifey's album, that's gonna be blessed. Yeah, she got I would let y'all listen to a snippet, but I'm gonna just wait because we're gonna shoot a video for it. We rented a Airbnb for next week. We're gonna it's gonna be really nice, really nice, really nice. I'm gonna shoot the video, but it's for a song that she's gonna release. It's gonna be nice. Y'all will see. But it's gonna be me and her though. It's like a love song, and you know, me and her like just showing black, you know, melanated love. We're gonna try to get other couples too to be in the video, showing their family and just love, stuff like that. So I'm excited for y'all to see that. Nah, they just want to turn around free with no boundaries. Run around free with no boundaries. Yeah, that's probably what it is too. Left out, yeah, I'm sticking to nursing. Hold on, yeah, I'm gonna stick to nursing. I want to get in these committee. Nice. Angie, I love a lot of your music. Make album we got to buy, like the Elder and GLCC did. What you mean? I love a lot of your music. Make album we got to buy, like the Elder and GLCC did. I have plenty albums out. Plenty of albums. But yeah, man. I really do appreciate y'all for tuning in though. And like I said earlier, you know, I hope that y'all got a lot from that video that we watched. And y'all can go back and rewatch that video if you want to. And like I said, that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna show y'all all the channels that I'm subscribed to. All right, this is the last thing that I'm gonna show y'all before I jump off here. But these are all the channels that I'm subscribed to. Okay, so let me show y'all my YouTube. Okay, these are. It's just. I want to see if I can do it another way. Hold on 1 second. If I go down to where's the subscriptions at? Top news, show more. STDs, what? Let me just do it like this right here. So on this side, okay, so I got Lead Former 73. He's on live right now as we speak. Really good channel for y'all to check out. 1 second. Yeah, so Lead Former 73, really good channel. He shows a lot of off-grid stuff and, you know what I'm saying, just different methods. Really good brother, man. This is another channel, Deep South Homesteads, older white guy. Shows you same thing. You can't beat this heat, you know what I'm saying? He showed you a lot. Food pantry and everything, like, yeah, so he showed you a lot, and also he got a lot of good wisdom too. Again, you know, I know a lot of people don't rock with Pastor Dow like that, but you know, when it comes to community building and things of that nature, really good channel to watch. Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, another good channel. He started out, you know, showing all the same things, you know, what to do off grid, how, you know, just pretty much with health, chickens, all that type stuff. And now he's more into like showing y'all all the conspiracies and stuff going on, in addition to, you know, homesteading and all that. This is another channel that I'm subscribed to, Off Grid with Curtis Stone. I love his channel. You know what I'm saying? He go live all the time and he talks about, you know, things that's going on in the world and, you know, like all of this, right? He got different videos of like off-gridding, like just a lot of stuff. Homestead Heart, it's a sister, you know, and her husband, you know, they do their thing. She spreads a lot of good wisdom. She reminds me of one of my aunties. I love watching her videos. I wanted to go live and show y'all, what video was it? I think, yeah, right here. Ish hit the fan, failed to prepare. It's too late. Don't prepare, just pray. You know what I'm saying? These are two really good videos y'all should check out. This the last one she did. If they don't listen, that's not on you, right? Another channel that I like to watch is old boy from Witness Goodness. He's building a cabin out in the wilderness right now. You know what I'm saying? I be getting a lot of ideas from him. I told y'all about this channel, Truth Stream Media. Really good channel, very good, well put together videos that they put out. I'm telling you, the majority of my subscriptions are people that really talk about stuff, and you know what I'm saying, like, you know, EE Arts, you see what they talk about. you know. And this is their other channel, Evolutionary Arts. You know what I'm saying? Full Spectrum, Survival, like his channel. The Crockers, you know what I'm saying? I love his channel. I got a lot of ideas starting out from his channel. Cause he show you like step by step how to do things and builds and all that. Let's see who else, man. Survival Dispatch. You know what I'm saying? 15 items every prepper should have. Building a stealth shelter. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of stuff like that. Let's see who else. I'm telling you, man. I follow so many people. Kyle's Cabin. The same exact way he built his house is the same exact way I built mine. Like I got my exact design. Well, not necessarily the exact, because the way his door is and windows, I did something different. But the way he built his is the way I built mine. Off grid with Jay and Jen. I learned a lot from them. With my add-on, I had watched how they added a room onto theirs, and I kind of got ideas from them. Man, the Foraging Family. This is a melanated family, young couple. They live out in the country. I won't necessarily say they live off grid, but yeah, they live in the country. I haven't watched too many of their videos, but yeah, they look like they got a pretty good channel. Let's see, man. Bear Independent. You know, I watched this. I like Bear Independent. True to My Roots. This is another young couple in Florida that somebody put me on to. They don't got too many videos, but this is another example. We built a tiny house debt free. You see, they tiny house. It ain't all that. You feel me? But I mean, hey, they doing their thing. They doing their thing. They living in the woods. You know, young couple. Faith Family Homestead. This is a sister, you know what I'm saying? She do a lot of gardening and a lot of canning and freeze drying, and you know, her family and everything like that, you know. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Roots and Refuge. I watch her channel. She do a lot of gardening. I learned a lot from her. I'm telling y'all, I can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Let's see who this is. No, that ain't. Citizen Survival Plan. You know, just getting different ideas, radio bases for, you know what I'm saying? Jailbreak Overlander. You know, this is for those of you who are familiar with Richie from Boston. This is his other channel where he show you how to do different things and, you know, how to live and camp and all that. Who else, man? You know, oh, this girl right here. I know she got all that. You know, they be doing that sometimes just to get attention and stuff. But no, she got some really good videos though. She got a cookbook that I want to get for my wife. Where she like bake pies and cakes and make a lot of plant-based foods and stuff. Her channel, I like her channel. I like his channel, Garden Like a Viking. You know what I'm saying? I learned a lot from his channel. Off Grid Shed to Cat. Yeah, I like this guy too. And remember what I said about plumbing? Like I'm learning how to plumb. Like he got a video Off Grid running water with no well. So this is after I watched this video, I kind of bought the same materials he got. You know what I'm saying? I like his setup. So I'm learning that. Epic Gardening. Learned a lot from his videos on gardening and everything like that. What else, man? I'm telling y'all now. Off-grid homestead. Now this guy right here, I learned a lot from. I think he called himself the boss of the swamp. But yeah, when we talk about septic systems and everything like that, like doing it yourself, he got a lot of videos. Even like the most recent project that I did, where I used that what you call it, the radiant barrier, the reflective insulation. I put that underneath the house, so that all the heat can stay in. But yeah, like I learned a lot of that from this guy. This is another channel, a cabin in 50 acres. I learned some different, interior ideas and stuff like that from him. Off grid with Jake and Nicole. Like watching this channel, this how I learned about, building an oven outside. Just different primitive like designs and stuff. And I like the Blue Eddy uh solar generator. I got that from them when I saw that they had it, and I saw their setup, the solar setup, and that's how I got that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, good channel, man. Like I say, I can go on and on. This channel, Martin Johnson, Off Grid Living. I got a bunch of ideas from them, especially like with the hot water heater and that whole setup. Yeah. Who else? All these other channels I'm subscribed to is just like, photography, video. I'm still subscribed to GLCC. Let's see. But yeah, man. Just showing y'all that. Just show y'all, when I say I learned a lot from people on YouTube, like I mean that. I really do be on here studying people and how they do what they do. So let me read some of y'all comments. She said, needed this, bro. Thank you. No problem. Show one by one. Can't see the names. Thank you again. That dog talk. I know. That's why I'm finna go and get off here because I gotta get in the bed. This was a great family chat. Love y'all. Good night. Shalom. Peace, sis. Yes, I watch him. What's down the cage? That's the thing. They not even in the cage. Cause they in the garage. Everybody watches Uncle Led. I know, but something for the people to buy, support you. Everybody watches Uncle Led. Just an idea. Much respect, though. Are these white people you follow? Yeah, most of them are white. You don't find a lot of people that look like us doing these things. So, I mean, when it comes to that, there's a lot of Caucasians that do it. And I wish more of us would do it, but we got to get there first. We gotta re-educate ourselves. We gotta get back in those environments. You know what I'm saying? So that we can do it, make it happen, and be examples. Some of them are white. It don't matter if they got good ideas. Who cares what color? I know, right? I be taking all their ideas. I was thinking the same thing. Throughout again, my brother, much love and much respect. No problem. Peace, love, and light, man. I believe would want to consider a double or triple wide module house off-grid living setup. Yeah, I got a couple friends who live in Virginia. They got a modular home. They got a nice setup. They sold their house and everything. They got like 15 acres, if I'm not mistaken. 16 acres. I can't remember how many acres they got, but yeah, they got land. They built a modular home. And it would be nice for them to jump on one day and talk about the whole process. So you can see, you know what I'm saying, like how they went about doing it, how much they cost, you know, and everything like that. I think that'll be dope. I'm gonna talk to them about it and see. We are slowly getting where we once was. Shalom family, another great informative video. A lot of your subs, I'm subscribed to them. Also, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They took ideas from our ancestors and now we taking them back. That's crazy. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Because our people at one point in time, this is all we knew. You know what I'm saying? But they took us out of our natural habitats and put us in these cities, these concrete jungles, and we lost everything. Like when Big Mama and them passed away, and you know what I'm saying? It's like all those old skills and stuff, instead of, you know, they never got a chance to hand them down to us. And it's crazy because our parents' generation I feel like they still had those skills. You know, like my mama, for an example, my mama, she still got skills like that. My mama, she still be doing her thing. You know what I'm saying? Like every time we go down there and visit, and I just see what she did around the house and everything, like she still got them skills. My mama be outside. My mama country for real. But yeah. And I think after my uncle passed, my mama is going to take over the land down there. So, you know, however she want to do it and go about it, I think I may be back and forth, you know what I'm saying? Like helping her with the land and stuff like that. And I know it's difficult to manage land in 2 different states, but like I say, man, if I can get in a position where I can move around like I want to and not have to worry about, you know what I'm saying, finances or nothing like that, hey, that'd be dope for me to go around to help people, you know what I'm saying, help them get started on their bills and stuff, kind of guide them, and you know, that'd be dope. Woman Maya is in Africa, but he shows a lot of examples of agriculture careers, and they explain how they did everything. We love getting our people into prepping. Woman Maya, Woda Maya. I gotta look that up. Woda Maya. Okay, I'm gonna look that up. But look, y'all, it's been real. I'm gonna go ahead and jump up off here. Go lay down. Gotta get up in the morning, in the AM. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for rocking with me, tuning in. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. Gotta get up, go to work. But in the meantime, I'll be putting stuff together behind the scenes, and I'm gonna catch y'all either in the next live or next video that I put together. We'll do something about these animals. But yeah, y'all keep y'all spirits up too. Y'all keep y'all spirits up too, man. I'm gonna pray for y'all. Y'all pray for me. You know what I'm saying? Hold it down. But peace, love, and light. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one.